Listed as doubtful for Game 5 of the first-round playoff series against the Warriors tomorrow. There is still hope, though, that he'll try to play. Milwaukee's Giannis Antetokounmpo, lower back contusion, questionable. Game 4 tonight in Miami. Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts today spoke for the first time since signing his 5-year mega deal that includes $179 million guaranteed. Hurts asked why he didn't push for a fully guaranteed contract, answered that money's nice, championships are better. With Hurts, Philadelphia will win another Super Bowl title, believes ESPN's Marcus Spears.
I think Jalen is in a great position. This team has shown that they can draft. This team has shown they understand what it takes to be a championship contender when it comes to the investment that it takes, i.e. going out and get A.J. Brown and building this offensive line. Yes, I think the Philadelphia Eagles fan base should expect a Super Bowl title in Jalen Hurts' team.
NHL playoff doubleheader tonight. Devils Rangers 7 Eastern ESPN TV, then Jets Golden Knights.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. They're close, convenient, and have the parts you need fast, along with excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
You so. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Ton to get to today. LSU spring game was over the weekend. We'll give you some takeaways. Shea Dixon 1 hour from right now. Tigers did pick up a commitment. Ben McDonald in hour 3. We'll continue our SEC spring recaps. Alabama later this hour. And boy, there is some unease in T-Town. We'll get to all of that. But where else would we start? Bottom 9. 2 out. Hope seemed thin. Tigers were going to blow a lead and go down in Game 3, missing out on the opportunity to sweep Ole Miss until this happened.
6-4 Rebels lead. 2 down. Top of the 9th. Runners first and second. The 1-2. Hit in the air. Down the line and left. Stay fair ball. Stay fair ball. And it is! 3-run blast! First home run of the year for Hayden Travinski, and the Tigers take the lead 7-6. Hey now!
Chris Blair on the call, LSU Sports Radio Network. Hayden Travinski with a pinch hit 3-run homer that put LSU back in the lead after they surrendered the lead in the bottom of the 8th. And Travinski with 2 on stepped up to the plate and mashed one down the left field line. It did stay fair, and LSU took a 2-run lead. Gavin Guidry would come in and preserve it in the 9th. I don't know that there was really any other decision Jay Johnson could have made in that situation. Ole Miss helped you out. They walked a guy, hit a guy. You put 2 on. You had Milazzo coming up in the 9-hole. You said, hey, look, let's see if we can take a lead with one swing of the bat. The guy on the bench who was most likely to do that was Hayden Travinski. So said, hey, kid, grab a bat, and he just muscled it down. Kid from Ole Miss who was pretty good, just hung a breaking ball belt high, and Travinski's huge. I mean, he looks like Soda Popinski from the old Mike Tyson's Punch-Out game. He just turned on it and ripped it down the line. So that was a no-doubter. LSU sweeps Ole Miss. Couple of takeaways from the weekend. Look, on Friday night, Paul Skeens wasn't his best. But when you're talking about a guy that doesn't have his best stuff and still strikes out 11, we're just so wretchedly spoiled by this cat right now. But the bigger story of the weekend, of course, was the pitching performances from Ty Floyd and Christian Little. Ty Floyd in Game 2 gave you 8 1/3, and he was magnificent. The key with Floyd, and I would extend this to Christian Little and quite honestly all of LSU's pitchers at this point. The key is, and excuse me for the big flashing sign with bright bulbs, it says Captain Obvious. The key is throwing strikes. The problem that Ty Floyd and Christian Little and Thatcher Hurd to that extent and other LSU pitchers who have struggled this year have had has been their ability or sometimes inability to throw the ball over the plate. Ty Floyd was magnificent. He got an awful lot of swing and miss from an Ole Miss lineup that just could not time out his fastball. Of course, we talk about that. We talk about that fastball, the spin rate, how it's got the late life where it elevates late, and he just continued to get Ole Miss hitters to swing at it over and over again. For Ty Floyd on the day, 111 pitches. He struck out 8, which isn't a magnificent strikeout total over 8 1/3, but he only walked 1 and did not hit a batter. So he made Ole Miss earn everything that they got. And the one guy that touched him up, he hung a breaking ball and the guy crushed it. So I don't know that you could ask for anything more from Ty Floyd than what he gave you. 8 1/3 of 3-run ball. If LSU can establish Ty Floyd, and he doesn't even have to give you 8 1/3, but if he can just be that guy who can take the ball in game 2 and get you to the bullpen with a lead, I don't know how teams are going to beat LSU in a regional, in a super regional, or you get to the championship series in Omaha. They're too deep and talented. They hit exceptionally well, and the missing piece had been finding these guys in the rotation. Now, you've seen Christian Little back-to-back weeks stack good performances. Floyd was fantastic against Arkansas. He hemmed and hawed and scuffled a bit, and now we've seen him, pitch exceptionally well against Ole Miss on the road in a key spot. Little gave you 5 1/3 on Sunday. Again, just 3 strikeouts, but only 1 walk. Remember last week against Kentucky, Christian Little was perfect through the first 3 innings. 9 up, 9 down. What got him out of the game in the 4th? He walked the bases loaded. That's when it fell apart for him. If you throw the ball over the plate and your stuff is good enough, it's going to be difficult for hitters to make good contact against you and hurt you, especially when you've got LSU's offense backing you up, man. Look, I can talk about Game 3, and obviously the story of Sunday, aside from Travinski, was missed opportunities. Tigers started the game with back-to-back-to-back singles. They had an opportunity to blow the thing wide open. Tommy White has a 3-1 count. He swings at a pitch that's in the left-hander's batter's box. Otherwise, you'd have bases loaded, nobody out, and maybe that thing gets out of hand in the first inning. But White strikes out, and then ultimately Quinn strikes out the side and limits the damage to just 1 run. And it kept Ole Miss hanging around. That was kind of the story. Josh Pearson got thrown out at home. You had Jordan Thompson get back picked at second base. It was, it was a day of missed opportunities, and it almost cost you. But you had the heroics late from Travinski, and you managed to sweep. So a couple of other takeaways. Friday night, Griffin Herring was awesome, and he has established himself as unquestionably the guy you trust the most out of the bullpen. When you've got to hand the ball off to get someone out, when you've got to have someone step up big, it's Griffin Herring. He gave you 3 innings of shutout baseball on Friday, backing up Paul Skeens, and LSU won at 7-3. Gavin Guidry came in and got his first save of the season, worked around a double, but still managed to get the outs in the 9th inning to get you home and win that one. And you didn't really need to go deep into your bullpen. We saw Nate Ackenhausen make his return. He pitched the final 2/3 of Game 2 after Ty Floyd. So a lot really to like. We did see Javen Coleman extend after throwing just 16 pitches on Tuesday in his return, just through that first inning, which was set and predetermined. He was only going to throw the first inning. He came out of the bullpen and threw 29 pitches on Sunday. So 16 pitches Tuesday, 29 pitches on Sunday, extending a little bit, which is really good to see. But Bryce Collins was followed by Riley Cooper and then Gavin Guidry as well. But all things considered, you come out of a weekend where Arkansas got swept, you sweep Ole Miss. You're now in sole possession of the lead of the Western Division in the SEC with 4 weekends to go. And I don't know how you could be any happier with where this team is right now. You'd love them to be healthier. Tommy White did leave the game on Sunday. I don't mean to minimize that. That's obviously massively significant if White is, for whatever reason, unavailable. Jay Johnson never elaborates on injuries, and he didn't tell us why Tommy White was pulled from the game, but we'll see if he's available for the midweek game on Tuesday or if we don't see him again to the weekend. But obviously you have to get Tommy White back, but he certainly looked fine in the dugout eating sunflower seeds and hanging out for the rest of the game. But that's significant. Maybe one of the big surprises is they put Braden Jobert at third, and he actually played really well. He fielded 2 ground balls. One was a hot shot, and he had the presence of mind to get the lead runner at second base. I mean, Braden Jobert didn't look in any way uncomfortable at third base, which was great to see. I mean, Tommy White's your third baseman, but you got another option if you need it. So, in any event, LSU sweeps Ole Miss. Tigers right now are still obviously they're going to be your consensus number 1 team in the country. For everyone who hemmed and hawed and weeped and wailed after a midweek loss, I say it all the time, just win your weekends. It's all that matters. And LSU did 12-5 overall or 32-7 overall, 12-5 in the league. Now a game in the loss column ahead of Arkansas. A game in the win column ahead of Arkansas. 2 games in the loss column ahead of Arkansas. You hope as the season goes along, not playing that final game against South Carolina doesn't bite you. But all things considered, you just keep winning weekends. You're going to set yourself up for your path to Omaha to run through the box, and that's all LSU needs. And if they do that, get to Omaha, play good for 10 days in Nebraska, and see if you can win another natty. All right, y'all. It's after further review. We'll knock out a quick break. Going to switch things up just a little bit. We're going to do our SEC spring recap looking at Alabama at the bottom of the hour. So let me break. We'll come back, give you a few takeaways from the spring game, and we'll go around the SEC when we come back next right here on AFR.
AFR.
Buying or selling commercial or residential. If you need to sell your home, you need Darren James. Agent225.com. Go to agent225.com. Say it every single day. Call Darren James. Get your home sold. Darren sells more homes than anyone. Anyone. That's a big part of the reason why you should call him. The guy gets results. He's got the processes, the people, the systems in place to get your home sold faster for more money. But it's so much more than that with Darren. Darren, despite the volume that he does, more than 600 leads a month, which is incredible. And he's always expanding his team. He has a way of making you feel like you are his only client. So if you're buying or selling, if you want to take what is normally a very stressful experience in moving and make it an enjoyable, stress-free experience, then you need Darren James. 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
The most valuable player probably that is the unsung hero through the entire playoffs, LaDasia Williams. All my exes live in Texas. Texas girl from the Big H right here.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey, it's Matt Musso. Join me Monday through Friday for your daily update on LSU baseball with Musso at the Box, presented by New Orleans Flooring, wherever you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, Google, and check out New Orleans Flooring. 2 locations, Metairie and Prairieville, or NOLAFlooring.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hey, with what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
For over a century, local broadcasting has evolved with the needs of the community. We move past the stigmas of opinion journalism and bring the most relevant news online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and the Baton Rouge Clinic bring you the Dreams Come True Radiothon. Dreams Come True is an organization designed to help grant dreams for children with life-threatening illnesses and their family. Remember, every $5 donation is an entry into our raffle. Raffle prizes this year include Justin Jefferson autographed LSU helmet and a Justin and Jamar Chase framed wall print, a 3-day, 2-night stay at the CMA Festival in Nashville. You can donate today at 1045ESPN.com.
This is last week as well, by the way, Dreams Come True Radiothon. So please make your donations. Go to 1045ESPN.com. We'll draw for those donations. We'll draw for those door prizes on Monday. The raffle prizes on Monday. So the raffle... Excuse me. I'm having trouble with words today. Okay.
That's not good.
Radiothon will run through Sunday, the end of the month. Monday, we will draw for the raffle prizes. Okay. I think I got that. We're going to go around the SEC here in a second. And next segment, we'll head over to Tuscaloosa, talk to Mike Rodak, who covers Alabama for AL.com. We're doing our SEC spring recap. So we're going to... Here over the next couple of weeks, we're going to visit with someone who covers every SEC school to kind of get a feel of how it went there in the spring. And a lot of angst out of Tuscaloosa this weekend because their quarterbacks did not look good. I am not going to oversell anything from a spring game. But what I will tell you is I do believe for the first time, Alabama has under Nick Saban, first time I would say this in 17 years, where they have very legitimate questions, and I don't believe they deserve the benefit of the doubt. They're going to have to go earn it this year. But we'll get to that. In the meantime, Saturday afternoon was kind of interesting because the spring game, the broadcast started at 1, right? But they didn't actually start like the spring game itself until like 1:20. Remember they had the way they had some practice, some goal line stuff earlier, and then later came back and did the scrimmage part of it. Well, the LSU baseball game started game 2 against Ole Miss at 2 o'clock. So just very candidly, I was more locked into the baseball game Saturday than spring football. I was not at Tiger Stadium. So I said, hey, look, let's send Muso out to Tiger Stadium to do some reconnaissance for us. So, I did go back and I read a lot and I watched some of the highlights and whatnot. But I said, hey, you know what, Muse, go watch the spring game. Do some reconnaissance for us, and then report back. So, Muse, jump in here if you would. Yeah, I'd love to hear some of your, thank you. I'd love to hear some of your takeaways from Saturday's National L Club spring game inside of Tiger Stadium.
I learned a lot, Matt. I really did.
Okay.
And number one,
hang on.
Yeah, write it down.
Wait.
This is important.
My pen. All right.
Number one, first and foremost.
Yep. Here we go.
Joe Burrow was there.
Quarterbacks. I knew it.
Joe Burrow was there. That's what you're always looking for.
Number 1. Hey, that's a great place to start. The GOAT, right? Number 9, the GOAT. He's back on campus. You better believe it.
Shaking hands, kissing babies, all that stuff.
What can you tell us? Anything great about Burrow? Anything he did that day?
Well, in a shocking twist, Matt, the band was not in uniform.
Okay. Well, I mean, it was the spring game use. I mean, they usually don't show up in uniform.
You're supposed to treat it like a real game, Matt.
No,
yeah,
they don't.
Real game
it's
feel.
Usually t-shirt, khaki shorts.
Real game
that's
feel.
What they do.
They were not. Speaking of not your normal dress code, Brian Kelly wore shorts.
Muse, you realize I sent you to go look at the game. I mean, I don't really give a damn
He was on
that
the field,
Burrow
Matt.
was
He was
there,
right there in
that
the middle
the
of
band
everything.
is
You
not
had
in
to
uniform,
notice
that
it.
Brian
You
Kelly's
couldn't
in
help but
shorts. I mean,
notice it.
did you notice anything in the game here, Muse? I mean,
well, I got hungry.
Yeah?
The nacho chips, they were left over from last year.
First of all, that's a dangerous accusation you're making. I mean, or how can you confirm they were left over from last year? Did you see?
Tasted it.
Did you see a sell-by date on those chips? Maybe they just served stale chips.
Well, why else would they be stale, Matt?
Because they sell stale chips. Maybe they're waterlogged or whatnot. I don't know. Maybe I'm not the guy who sells the chips.
Look,
I mean, anything about the game news at all. I mean, so I'm glad
Well,
Joe Burrow was there. You watched the
know-
band. Brian Kelly's wearing shorts. The chips are stale. Like I'm just. We sent you to go do some reconnaissance here at the spring game, and this is what you're reporting back here.
Dan Bournet was absent. You had Dixon McMakin doing PA.
Oh, Dixon.
Yeah. He was PA guy on Saturday.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Now that's great news. Calici, vote for
See?
Dixon.
There you
Go
go.
Bears. Yeah, thank you, Muse. Finally, something relevant. So, is Dixon replacing Dan Bournet as the voice of Tiger Stadium?
I don't think so. The chance of rain was still never.
What do you mean to tell me Dixon stole Dan Bournet's line?
Could have. That might be what I'm telling you. Yes.
If Dixon stole Dan Bournet's line, we got major issues with that. That is trademark infringement, is what that is. I'm not okay with it.
The attendance?
Yeah.
Sparse. But 3 fistfights did break out over the correct pronunciation of Ovi Agofu.
No, I don't believe that at all.
Happened.
I don't believe it.
One right next to me.
I think you're lying.
One right next to me, Matt.
I think you're making this stuff up is what you're doing right now. I don't even know that you actually went to the damn spring game, Muse. I sat here and asked you.
If I wouldn't have gone, how would I know all of these things happened?
Twitter.
Logical. But not factual.
Anything else there, Muse?
That's all I had.
I'm disappointed. Nothing on Jaden Daniels? Huh?
No.
Nothing on the kicking game?
No.
Any offensive linemen look good?
No.
Did we see any of the transfers on defense who really flashed?
I mean, Ovi Agofu, but no one could really figure out how to pronounce his name.
Omar Spates, nothing? Huh?
Didn't catch my eye.
Zy Alexander, flipping the hips, turning around, running?
No.
Nope, nothing.
They didn't play neck. The band that was not in uniform still didn't play neck.
Okay. That's Matthew Musso, his spring game takeaways. Thanks for nothing, Muse. Next year we'll actually send someone with some credentials to go watch the game and give us some takeaways. Shea Dixon was there, and Shea will be with us to start hour 2. LSU did land a commitment, and there might be a little more recruiting activity around this class that's heating up here after the spring game. Shea Dixon will talk about that in about 37 minutes from right now. Muse talking about stale chips and whatnot. Muse, I am disappointed in you. I expected much.
Look, I was hungry, and that was kind of disappointing.
We're going to go around the SEC in a second. So Friday we did the show at Zurich. I'm leaving Zurich. And, I don't care. I had one of the valet passes, okay, for your car. At Zurich, there's different parking lots, okay? Well, I had a valet. I am bougie, and I'm not afraid to admit it, okay? I wanted a valet pass. I got it. You pull your car up to the front. The valet takes your car. You walk right in, okay? And then when you get back, you hand them your ticket. They go, you know how a valet works. I'm leaving Zurich. Honest to goodness, and I told these guys I'm telling the story in there. I'm leaving Zurich. So give the valet my ticket, whatever. I'm waiting on my car. Some three, 4 guys walk up, and they're like, oh, scone, whatever. So talking. Valet pulls my car. He goes, you actually drive a Volkswagen? I was like, yeah, you think I'm lying to you? He goes, I just thought it was an advertisement. Like, no, you want to know why I'm good at what I do and why people advertise on my show? Because I only endorse good companies that I actually believe in or products I use. Yes, I drive a Volkswagen Cross Sport. I told those guys, I'm like, I'm using this on air on Monday. So here it is, fellas. If you're listening, you can go spread the good word and let people know that I do, in fact, drive a Volkswagen. My wife drives a Volkswagen Atlas. My mom bought an Atlas Crossboard as well. No, not Crossboard. She drives the Atlas. My dad just bought a Tiguan. My godparents drive an Atlas. My cousin drives an Atlas Crossboard. I'm telling you, I'm converting my whole family. Volkswagens are. It's the great German engineering, the top safety picks. You get great gas mileage on them as well. You get all the great German engineering, the safety features. They're stylish. They're luxurious. They're fun to drive at a fraction of the cost of the quote-unquote luxury brands. If you've never considered Volkswagen, put one on your list. Put Volkswagen on your list and go test drive at South Point Volkswagen. Airline just north of Highland or southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction? Okay, Alabama spring recap coming up in less than 10 minutes. Right now, let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, excellence in imaging solutions. The Georgia Bulldogs.
Defensive lineman Bear Alexander has committed to USC. He was the number 56 overall prospect in the country last recruiting class, the number 5 defensive tackle, massive interior lineman who played just 163 defensive snaps as a true freshman, says he wants to go where he can be an every down player, so he is headed out to USC. Chose the Trojans over Colorado, Texas, Oregon, Miami, Penn State, and basically everyone else.
The Florida Gators.
Junior wide receiver Xavier Henderson has entered the NCAA transfer portal. Henderson led Florida last year with 38 catches. He's the 3rd Florida player to enter the transfer portal during the spring window.
Texas A&M!
Redshirt freshman defensive back Bobby Taylor has withdrawn from the transfer portal. He'll stay at Texas A&M as 4 seasons of eligibility remaining. He was part of that number 1 recruiting class in 2022, but the 6'1", 180-pounder did not play his freshman season, jumped in the portal, but now says he'll stay at A&M. Aggies have lost 2 players while picking up 3 commitments in this portal window.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
North Texas tight end Varkey's Gums has committed to Arkansas via the portal. 6'3", 235. He's the 13th scholarship transfer addition this offseason for Sam Pittman's squad. He's got 3 years of eligibility remaining. Head offers from Cal, West Virginia, Utah, Colorado, Oregon, BYU, FAU, and others. Razorbacks lost last year's starter at tight end Trey Knox to South Carolina.
The Missouri Tigers.
Mizzou senior forward Kobe Brown has made himself available for the NBA draft, but says he will retain his collegiate eligibility. 1 season to go. If he returns to Missouri, he would likely finish as Missouri's all-time leader in career games played if he returns next season. He was a first-team All-SEC and averaged nearly 16 points a game.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
A day after adding Aaron Estrada via the portal, men's basketball continued to bolster their roster for next season. Latrell Wrightsell Jr., a guard from Cal State Fullerton, picked the Tide. Averaged 9 points a game in the Big West last year. Shot 35% from 3. 6'3" guard headed to Tuscaloosa.
The Vanderbilt Commodores.
Vandy basketball has lost another player to the portal. Tyron Lawrence is leaving Nashville. Commodores' second leading scorer from a year ago, averaged 13 points, 4 boards a game. Previously declared for the draft, but maintained his eligibility. Now says he's leaving Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt has added just 1 transfer commit this offseason, but lost 6 of its top 7 scorers from last year. All right, there you have it. That is Around the SEC presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. Shout out to our guy Trey Beal and our friends Gulf Coast Office Products. You know where to find them, gcopnet.com, gcopnet.com for Gulf Coast Office Products. Ask about the interactive whiteboards over at Gulf Coast Office Products. Whether you're a 2-person business or a 200-person business, interactive whiteboards could be massively beneficial for you and your company. Learn more at Gulf Coast Office Products, gcopnet.com, gcopnet.com for Gulf Coast Office Products. All right, we're going to knock out a break. Shea Dixon in 30 minutes from right now to start hour number 2. When we come back, though, we're heading over to Tuscaloosa. How did the spring game go? What do we know about Bama? What do they have to work on? Is Nick Saban looking in the portal for a quarterback? Mike Rodak of AL.com joins us next. Stick around.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by the Renaissance Hotel. Of course, tell you every day about the Watermark in downtown and the Renaissance in Southtown. The Renaissance right there on Bluebonnet. Remember, a couple of things about the Renaissance. Everybody knows their guest rooms are magnificent. You always get the local flavor of every Renaissance hotel. So no matter where you are in the world, if you stay at a Renaissance hotel, that is a one of one. All of the decor is specific to that place. Like you go into the Renaissance in Baton Rouge and you'll see the crab trap designs on the carpets throughout the Renaissance Hotel. The to-scale sculpture behind the front desk is actually a to-scale sculpture of the Mississippi River and all of its tributaries. But at the Renaissance Hotel, man, Tallulah, the restaurant, magnificent. Upscale casual dining, great for a business meeting or a night on the town. And their meeting space is for anyone, from 12 people to 500 people. Learn more. It's the Renaissance Hotel in Baton Rouge.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, anytime. Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Each year, Guarantee Media hosts a radiothon to benefit Dreams Come True, the local organization that grants dreams to Louisiana kids suffering life-threatening illnesses and their families. We've interviewed these incredible kids, and their stories warm our hearts. And none of it would be possible without your help. So we're asking for your support in our effort to making more dreams come true. Each year, our Dreams Come True radiothon is powered by the Baton Rouge Clinic. Visit GuaranteeMedia.com to pledge your support today, and thank you.
Bayou Ford has $2,000 off MSRP plus 2.9% APR for 84 months on new 22 Ford Expeditions. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. The SEC Spring Recap on After Further Review. The Alabama Crimson Tide.
All right, let's head over to Tuscaloosa, where apparently after Saturday's fake football game, a lot of people are none too pleased with what transpired under center. Mike Rodak, AL.com, good enough to join us for a couple of minutes, covers the Crimson Tide. Mike, we appreciate it, man. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks for having me on.
It's my pleasure. Let me not bury the lead. Okay, everyone is talking about the quarterbacks and in particular how bad it looked. Fill us in. What transpired on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, there was some good with the bat. I think it was kind of a continuation of the inconsistency and sort of the uncertainty that's been there all spring at that position. This is the first time that even we've seen them, as reporters, because Nick Saban closes his practices entirely now. So this was the first time that we've seen both of those guys this spring. And for Milroe, I think we all knew what he was capable of doing with his legs. We saw that last year. We saw it again on Saturday. It was always about how much can he improve as a passer. And there was a couple throws that he made that were impressive. He had a touchdown pass, so it was 36 yards, is right on the money. But I think will really irritate Nick Saban and put in jeopardy his chances of being a starter was the interception when he's backed up in the end zone and just kind of threw the ball up, and it was caught like a center fielder by the safety. That was an issue. And, for Ty Simpson, he has some athleticism. He showed that as well. Juked the guy, in the open field. But, it's still decision-making, accuracy, consistency for him. He had an interception that wasn't quite as bad. It was a great play by the defender. He had some nice throws. He had some balls that were dropped that I think hurt his stats. So I walked into the day thinking Jalen Milroe had the better shot to be the starter. I walked out of the day looking at it more as a toss-up, and I think Ty Simpson had the better day out of those two quarterbacks. But overall, it was still a far cry from what we've been used to watching in the last couple of years with Bryce Young.
Yeah, I mean, he's the standard is obviously set pretty high. There are people who've kind of read into Nick Saban's comments after the game that he may be open to adding a quarterback via the portal if one presented itself here in the spring. Is that a fair read on what Nick Saban said after the game Saturday?
Yeah, I think so. I share that same perception. And he's been asked a couple times over the past week and a half about the portal, not directly like, will you add a quarterback through the portal? That's you're not going to get anywhere with that question, but you can kind of read between the lines with him, and he's certainly keeping open the portal possibility. And there's a question even during the week that he was asked about, his confidence in the quarterbacks. And every coach in that situation is going to say they are confident in the players that they have, but yeah, I don't know how much that means. And I do get the sense that if a quarterback is available, and that's kind of that's a tricky word in college football these days. It's not like pro sports where a guy becomes a free agent and you can get him. There may not be a quarterback who goes into the portal, but it's a lot of back channel stuff and kind of figuring out who might want to come to Alabama, who would be interested, would there be mutual interest, what's the number that it's going to take for that to happen. And that's kind of how college football works. And if that stuff is happening behind the scenes, I wouldn't be shocked over the next couple of weeks. But it's hard to rule out at this point.
Mike, I know you covered the NFL as well. It kind of sounds like free agency, actually, a little bit. It's kind of how it works.
That's what Saban said. Yeah, Saban said that this week. He's like, it's like the NFL, and it's like free agency. Like we can lose players, which Alabama has through the portal, but they can add players too. And that's again what you read that as him keeping the door open for a new quarterback to come in.
Mike Rodak's with us, AL.com, covers Alabama. So all of the conversation is about the quarterbacks, and I didn't want to bury the lead and not start there, but you still have a supremely talented football team. Offensively, where are the high points coming out of spring?
It's a team that it doesn't have a Derrick Henry at running back. It doesn't have a Devontae Smith at wide receiver. They didn't have one last year either, and that was a problem, not having that sort of dominant receiver that just can take over a game. And I'm not sure that they do again this year. But they have 5-6 receivers that I think are pretty capable of, being starting level SEC players, and 2 that were there last year, and Ja'Cory Brooks and Jermaine Burton, and some younger players as well, and a JUCO transfer, Malik Benson, who they really like. And I think running back, it's a question of do they stick with the familiar veteran guys, the Jason McClellan and Roydell Williams that we've seen a lot out of, or do they shift more towards Justice Haynes, who's the 5-star freshman from Georgia? His dad played in the NFL, Ron Haynes, and by all accounts has had a great spring and had 3 touchdowns in the spring game Saturday. If you're looking for a guy who could become a star, an elite player, a game breaker, I think he has the best chance in this offense of doing that.
Mike, flip it over to the defensive side. boy, we've just become accustomed to seeing these great Nick Saban defenses for all these years, but obviously now you have a change at defensive coordinator with Kevin Steele coming in. Is it going to look any different defensively with Kevin Steele coming in and taking over for Pete Golding?
No, yeah, it's going to be the same old Saban defense, and I think that was even something they talked about in the spring game broadcast on Saturday when Steele was talking to the announcers and saying Saban hasn't changed anything, from the last time that Kevin Steele was there in 2014. This is his third stint now with Alabama. Everything kind of stayed the same with the defense. They changed some things in terms of how do you match what teams are doing personnel-wise, schematically in college football these days, but the fundamental base of the defense is the same. It's Saban's playbook. It's not changing with Steele in there. The big question for them is how do you replace Will Anderson, who was just a game wrecker, as we know, the past 3 seasons. And they have 2 veteran guys in Dallas Turner and Chris Braswell at outside linebacker, who they really like. Neither of them played on Saturday because of injury. They have 2 5-star kids coming in this summer at that position. So there's players, but there's not a Will Anderson there. And then the secondary is the other big question where, yes, you have Kool-Aid McKinstry coming back at corner. You have Malachi Moore moving to safety. He's a senior. The other safety spot seems to be Caleb Downs, who's a 5-star freshman. But that other corner spot, the 5th defensive back, 6th defensive back, there's a lot of change there. They've lost 4 guys to the draft in the back end. So I think 8 starters overall on defense, too.
Mike, every year, and last thing, and appreciate you for Mike Rodak with us, AL.com. Every year, whenever we kind of do our season previews, I always kind of jokingly talk to whoever might be from Alabama that we're interviewing or who covers Alabama, and I'll run through the list of everybody that Alabama has lost in a given year, and I say, does it really matter? I mean, because it never seems to matter. No matter what players they lose, what coaches they lose, Bama is just always Bama. For me, though, this year feels a little different. Do you get that sense covering this program that this offseason does feel a little different than other years past where Alabama has lost so much and just managed to keep rolling along?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this is my 5th season now covering them, and I feel like this is just overall the most limited team that I've seen, or the most unknown team in terms of you don't know where the season's going to end up. You don't know if they're a playoff team. You don't know if they're a national title. I mean, they compete for national titles every year, but you don't truly know if this is that sort of team. And I think part of that is the portal in terms of you're losing that second-tier guy that, you might lose a Brian Branch to the draft, but you have a sophomore or junior who's ready to step into that next role. Well, those guys transfer now because if they don't play right away, their first or second year, then they're gone. And they've lost 24 players like that. I'd say the last 2 off seasons that would be the guys who are stepping into starting roles this year. And so now they're trying to replace those players with guys through the portal, and they've missed on a few. I think they missed on Eli Ricks coming up from LSU last year. That was, he didn't even start, the first half of the year. And that was a problem. And they missed on Tyler Harrell, who they got in the portal from Louisville. They just don't know how these players are going to fit the system and learn the system, and that's a big unknown. And then otherwise, you're relying on freshmen, and you don't know what's going to happen with freshmen either. So that's the difference. I think that you kind of go from having one player to the next player to the next player. Now it's one player to, well, who's next? And that's the problem right now.
Mike Rodak, AL.com, covers the Crimson Tide, wrapped up spring. Interesting offseason there in T-Town. Follow him on Twitter at Mike Rodak, R-O-D-A-K. Mike, we appreciate it, man. Thanks for a couple of minutes.
You got it. Thank you.
All right, man. Be well. It's after further review. We'll knock out a quick break and wrap up hour number 1. We will shift back and talk about LSU spring game. By the way, our SEC spring recaps, we're going to stop in every single SEC town. Last week, we checked off Knoxville. Today, Tuscaloosa. We got 12, well, I guess 11 more to go because obviously we're here at LSU, but so 13 in total. But we'll do this over the next 2 weeks. We'll just kind of give you a spring recap of every team in the league and how it went there in their respective spring football heading into their off season. So there's a lot of people that when we talk about Alabama are gonna take the approach of just rolling your eyes, shrug your shoulders, and just recognize that it's Alabama, it's Nick Saban, and they just keep doing what they do every year. And for the last 16 years, I've been in that number. I mean, Nick's entering year 17 in Tuscaloosa. And they've always deserved the benefit of the doubt because they are who they are, and he is who he is. But this one feels different, and I'm not throwing dirt on them. I'm not saying they're done and the dynasty's over and all that sort of stuff. It is just, I think, undeniably a different offseason for them and a different approach this offseason. They got a lot of questions to answer, unlike typically in years past. Okay, we'll knock out a quick break. We'll wrap up hour number 1 when we come back. Remember, NBA playoffs are in full swing. Every day of the NBA playoffs, new customers. You can bet just $5 on a pregame moneyline bet over the DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. Make a $5 pregame moneyline bet, and they'll give you $150 in free bets if your pregame moneyline bet hits. Again, tonight you got Milwaukee, Miami. You got Memphis and the Lakers tonight is the late game. You want to bet on either of those? You feel really good about the winner? Awesome. Make a $5 pregame moneyline bet. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. If it hits, they'll give you $150 in free bets. Remember, no sweat same-game parlays every day of the NBA playoffs for new or existing customers. Just opt in, make that no sweat same-game parlay only at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the promo code Baton Rouge. 21 and older, physical present in Louisiana. Select parishes only. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Opt-in required. One bonus bet issued based on amount of initial losing NBA bet. Eligibility, wagering, and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/basketball terms. Licensing partner Golden Nugget Lake Charles. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-426-2537. While we were talking to Mike Rodak, the news that so many of us have been waiting on for quite a while now has become official. Aaron Rodgers is a member of the New York Jets. We will get to that when we come back and give you some reaction and tell you all the particulars when we return here on AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. By the way, Gordon announced late last week that Gavin Dugas, so the LSU baseball team, or the Tiger baseball team, I should say, is the newest member of the G team. So many great athletes in so many different sports at different universities around the state being represented by the G team or are representing the G team, and Gavin Dugas, number 8, local guy from Homa, of course, has grinded away throughout his LSU career. Such a key part of the Tigers. Congrats to Gavin Dugas joining the G team. You want to join the G team? You always can. You go to getgordon.com. That's getgordon.com. You've been injured in an accident, and it's not your fault. You need representation. You can trust a local group of attorneys that have helped injured people in Louisiana for more than 30 years. It's Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Go to getgordon.com, getgordon.com, or call 888-8888. That's 888-8888 for Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. You know what to do. Get Gordon and get it done.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $15,000 off all new 2022 1500 SCA trucks. And all new Bayou automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
For over a century, local broadcasting has evolved with the needs of the community. We move past the stigmas of opinion journalism and bring the most relevant news online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text TV to 52886 and tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, we are wrapping up hour number one. It's now official. Well, let me rephrase that. It's Schefter official. We have not yet seen the announcement from the Packers or the Jets, but Schefter, Ian Rappaport, others are breaking the news that we've been waiting for a couple of months now. The Green Bay Packers are trading Aaron Rodgers to the New York Jets. Schefter was the first to have it. Rappaport has followed. All the usual suspects are breaking the news right now, but we're waiting on something official from the Jets and Packers. But even the compensation now has been agreed upon has leaked. So from Schefter, the Packers have agreed to send the Aaron Rodgers and this year's 15th pick plus a 5th round pick this year to Green Bay in exchange for this year's number 13 pick. So basically a pick swap. The Packers and the Jets are pick swapping this year. So the Jets will take Green Bay's 15th pick, and Green Bay will get the Jets' 13th pick. So not a huge deal there. The Packers also get a 2nd-round pick this year, which is number 42 overall, a 6th-round pick this year, number 207, a conditional 2024 2nd-round pick that becomes a 1st-round pick if Aaron Rodgers plays 65% of the snaps. So essentially, which we're all assuming is going to happen barring some weird injury or something unforeseen. But essentially, the Packers are sending Rodgers and a 5th-round pick in exchange for a pick swap this year, a 2nd-round pick this year, a 6th-round pick this year, and next year's 2nd-round pick, which becomes next year's 1st-round pick if Rodgers plays 65% of the snaps for the Jets this season. So the Packers get a haul. They get to move on with whatever they decide to do at their starting quarterback spot. Of course, Jordan Love is the guy they drafted who's been patiently waiting his turn, and Aaron Rodgers gets a chance to try to go win a Super Bowl at another franchise. The really obviously difficult part about going to the Jets, while he knows the coach there, the offensive coordinator there, and Hackett is now, who was his OC in Green Bay, who went to Denver, is now in with the Jets. There's some familiarity there, and you could argue a lot of really nice pieces, a good defense that they built there under Robert Saleh. The tricky part is your division. I mean, you're in a division with the Buffalo Bills, who are right there with Kansas City, you could argue, as the best teams in the AFC. You've got the Miami Dolphins, who are a franchise on the come, and they are certainly pushing toward being all in. And that's not even to include the New England Patriots, which are the greatest dynasty we've ever seen in the history of the NFL. Now, obviously, they're on the back end of that, what happens with Mac Jones, et cetera. But If you're the Jets and yes, you just got Aaron Rodgers, but I would argue you just walked into the toughest division in football, AFC, with respect to the AFC West. But man, the Packers, who were ready to wash their hands clean of Aaron Rodgers, have clearly done so, and they are getting a whole heap of assets for an aging veteran, where they decided they could no longer compete for championships with him. So it is now done. It was going to be interesting to see if they could get that deal done before the draft. And obviously, if you're the Jets, if you're the Packers, you have a great incentive to want to get that done before the draft, because you want those assets for this year's draft and not just have it for future years. So you begin your process right now with Jordan Love and whatever assets you're going to get for Aaron Rodgers, and they've done that. So the Packers trade Aaron Rodgers to the Jets. That is now done per Schefter, Rappaport, and others. Wait on the official announcement from the Packers and or the Jets. But again, they got that done here just a few days before the NFL draft. All right, it's After Further Review. Monday show's brought to you by Relief Windows. Shea Dixon joins us when we come back right after SportsCenter. Tigers picked up a commit for 2024, and a few more could be on the horizon. Stick around.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com. That's Michelli.com. So often what we talk about with Michelli is convenience and efficiency. So many times, calibration of devices you may need should take 7 to 10 days. But in some places, it's taken 8 to 10 weeks. So if you're a local business, why ship your devices to some company in another state where you got to package it, ship it, have it calibrated, then they package it, ship it back, and it's taking weeks and weeks and weeks when you could just call Michelli? They're in, 11 different states. You know what I mean? 19 different offices across 11 different states. Why wouldn't you call Michelli? Their local rep could come pick up your device, bring it back, get it calibrated, and return it to you. Easier, it's efficient, it's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Michelli.com. Learn more online at Michelli.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with you all the time. But until then, I spend my money up right down on my last dime. Come in Baton Rouge. Operator, what you put me on through? Gotta send my love down the.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Breaking news, 40 days after he announced he wanted to play for the Jets, quarterback Aaron Rodgers got what he wanted. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports his trade from the Packers to the Jets is official. The teams swap first-round picks. New York now has the 15th overall selection in Thursday's NFL Draft. Green Bay, number 13. Packers also get second and sixth-round picks and a 2024 conditional second-rounder. The deal is a win-win in the opinion of ESPN's Marcus Spears.
Both sides get what they want, and Green Bay is sitting there with a haul of draft picks and the opportunity to improve their team. Aaron Rodgers gets what he wants after everything we watched transpired. This is a phenomenal job of business by the NFL and two general managers, Joe Douglas as well.
Much more on this story throughout the night on ESPN Radio, as well as the 6 Eastern Sports Center on ESPN TV. Kings guard De'Aaron Fox, dealing with a fractured tip of his left index finger, according to ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski, will be listed as doubtful for Game 5 of the first-round NBA playoff series tomorrow night against the Warriors. That series is tied 2-2.
Do you own or rent your home? Sure you do. Fortunately, Geico makes it easy to bundle your home and car insurance. It's a good thing, too, because having a home is hard work. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. Geico.com. Easy.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, Matt!
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
So. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. All right, LSU football had the spring game on Saturday, but it wasn't just about the practice or the fake football on the field. That's giant recruiting opportunity as well. And the Tigers did pop one. Deshaun McBride committed to LSU. Four-star safety out of Denham Springs. So LSU picks up another commit for 2024. Our buddy Shea Dixon from On 3, good enough to join us for a couple of minutes here to talk about it. Shea, we appreciate you as always, man. How are you?
Yeah, thanks for having me on as always. I'm thinking of what you just said, and it rings true on a number of levels. Quite often it is not just about the spring game or what's happening on the field when half of your team isn't even out there and you're running scripted stuff, but more so about recruiting, which is never evidenced more by them taking the eye of the tiger off the midfield and just putting the recruiting logo on it.
We'll get you know what? Actually, let's start there. How would you elaborate just a little bit with that, like the significance of that, or why they would even do that?
Well, I mean, the path and the state of Louisiana, that whole emblem is graduate champions. All that has been different mantras that Kelly's gotten behind, but this path specifically is football, right? In terms of recruiting and what it means to join that and follow in the footsteps of whether it be other Louisiana guys or other former greats that have played at LSU and come through the program. And do I think anybody in the class is committing because they put that at midfield instead of the I? No. But I do think it rings true to the reality that they know that recruiting is the lifeblood of this program, and putting an actual push behind it like the path and like graduate champions and all these different things, I think adds an element that, to me, lets me know that they're taking it very seriously.
Remember a few years ago, Mississippi State put hashtag Hail State on their field when trying to get hashtag. I mean, it's obviously something we all do now, but like trying to get hashtags trending, right? I mean, so yeah, it's there are those opportunities where it's significant. All right, let's talk about Dwayne McBride. Safety out of Denham Springs. What can you tell us about him? Or Deshaun McBride, I'm sorry.
I mean, we've got Lane out here wearing hashtag transfer to the SIP sweatshirts to coach in during games. I mean, let's be real. It is always about recruiting.
Yeah.
Deshaun McBride is, the first Denham Springs football player. Obviously, they've got a pretty good baseball player on their team, but first football player since Caleb Radia a number of years back, a handful of years back at least. But comes through Denham Springs, led the program. I think it was the record. I do believe it is the record, with 9 picks a year ago from his safety spot. But as a junior in high school, Matt, he's 6'3", 200. So he could grow into a big safety. He can maybe play linebacker if he ever felt the need. But regardless, he right now in On3 rankings is a top 5 player in Louisiana. And that's what a lot of people have asked is, coming off a year ago when it was very understandable that, hey, Matt, you've Googled the On3 rankings and you're looking at the top 10 guys in Louisiana, and a lot of them are going elsewhere, whether it was Arch or Eli Holstein or, Tackett Curtis and Derek Williams at Westgate and Jaden Osbury at U-High, whomever it might be. It didn't look normal, but it was understood that, all right, they've had some bad seasons, 500 seasons, a losing season in 1 year, and they were making a transition to a new coach. Now I look at the top 10 in the On3 rankings, and with Juwan Johnson recently decommitting from Colorado, nobody's committed to an out-of-state school, and LSU's now got 3 guys in the class with the addition of Deshaun McBride, who are top 10 players in the state. So we're starting to see those much-needed dominoes drop where if you lock up this state, which is one of the best per capita at producing high-level FBS players and certainly NFL players, you're set up for success, which is a big reason Brian Kelly took this job.
So McBride gets LSU a top prospect in Louisiana to stay home. Are they done at safety, or is there more work to do there?
Oh, there's more work to do. I would say maybe halfway home. So they've got, you look right now, Matt, at the team, and we knew that, hey, they've got Greg Brooks and Major Burns coming back. Those are returning starters. That's great. Those guys are at the back end of their careers. And really the other veteran, quote unquote, in the safety room would be Sage Ryan, who will be in his 3rd year. And he's obviously broken onto the field, playing some safety, playing nickel in the spring, and that might be where he ends up in the fall. But he's also getting older. So who's up next? And Matthew Langlois has been injured for a couple of years. They had some safeties leave the program the past couple of years. And really now you've brought in this new crop of Tobiano and Yates, and even a guy like Ashton Stamps out of Rummel could play safety. You've got some young guys, but how do you continue to add to that? I think they need a big safety haul. So 2 guys now committed with McBride and Maurice Williams out of Texas, who's also a top 200 prospect, high 4-star. And they're still in it on a number of others, including one local guy, in Joel Rogers at West Louisiana, who has an offer at safety. He's another top 20 prospect nationally at safety. So they're well on their way to having a very good safety class. I just don't think it's done yet.
Shea Dixon's with us on Twitter at Shea Dixon. You mentioned Juwan Johnson, who had been committed to Colorado, decommitting. What can you tell us about that?
So he went to Colorado spring game this past weekend and ended up on Sunday decommitting and moving on. And it's been an odd, 48 hours since Saturday's spring game, because last I checked, they had 15 players hit the portal in that stretch. And look, I'm sure that many of them, out of Deion's own mouth, was after spring, this roster is going to look different. So guys are leaving. But I believe one of their better receivers hit the portal, and then Juwan Johnson, who's one of their highest-ranked commits, decides to open things back up. He told us, we've got an interview right now with him on the site that Sam Spiegelman did, that he rushed the decision. He got caught up. He wants to take things a little more slowly. But I think there's also the reality that anybody can understand this. he's got offers from everyone in the country. When you've got to, and look, this isn't what he came out and said, but I've seen many people who said when it comes to Colorado, really getting these kids and holding on to them, distance is what you're beating out. And Matt, if you're in Lafayette, you have to drive to wherever to fly out Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Houston. If you're flying out of Lafayette, no matter what, you're having to go to Dallas to then connect to Denver and drive over to Boulder. And when you're talking about family coming to see you and you getting home, it's a lot. If you've got options that are all over the place, a lot of these kids ultimately are going to lean back to, well, I've got LSU right down the road. Hey, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Bama, A&M, Texas, all these schools are drivable for me. Arkansas, Colorado is going to have to make a really big pitch with a lot of these national kids to overcome that hump when guys have options closer to home.
Shea, I'm looking at the on-through recruiting prediction machine that you all have up, and there's a 59% chance that Johnson ends up as part of LSU's class. You'll have it at 31% that he ends up in Colorado. Safe to say that LSU should be the leader at this point?
I thought LSU was the leader before. That was where my pick was before he kind of unexpectedly said, hey, look, I'm about to make an announcement, and word kind of spread that, oh, whoa, look, he's coming off a Colorado visit. He's about to announce right now. And I moved it to Colorado, and he committed there. And not 2 months later, he's, as was his own interview, saying what most people would understand of, hey, I was coming off a big visit. Coach Prime and they had a lot of buzz at the moment. That was kind of at the height of the Colorado buzz. And he got on board. And now he said, hey, look, I've had time to reflect. I've visited both schools in that time, and I just want to take a step back and start things over. So for me, that puts LSU back as the team to beat moving forward.
All right, a couple more for you, Shea. Look, Joe Burrow and all the guys, Jamar, Clyde, all the guys from 2019 that were there. How, sort of an obvious question, man, but how big of a deal is that to have those guys there for the spring game on Saturday from a recruiting purpose?
I mean, I think it's huge. Think of this. Well, all these guys get to hang out and get their photos with all of them. And are you going to commit to that school because of that? No, but it makes it a very cool experience. And it's not just those guys, because I've talked to a number of other recruits who were saying, look, I had guys hit me up who were on other visits at other colleges saying, man, I wish I were there. I'm not getting to hang out and take photos with all these different people and meet all these other, former LSU athletes right now. And for Louisiana kids and kids beyond, that's a big deal. So it doesn't hurt, I'll tell you that. I think these kids love seeing that and seeing guys come back. And when there are big weekends like that, everybody wants to be a part of it. And guys who aren't kind of wish they had made it in.
Shea, portal window is open here. Are we expecting LSU to lose any guys into the portal?
I don't know if it's anyone that goes into the portal at this stage, in my mind, is going to be someone that just doesn't see a path to the field, because so many guys got reps in spring. So, you got a lot of new guys joining the program. A lot of guys are jockeying for positions. So I'd be surprised, but then again, I could see one or two names going in if they felt like, hey, look, I really don't have a path to the field. Mm-hmm. I know everybody's just paying attention to quarterback and Garrett Nussmeier, and certainly LSU can make the case that they have the best 1-2 punch in the country at quarterback in terms of guys you'd be willing and confident to trot out there and win you games. But I've heard no buzz on that front. Honestly, with the deadline already passed to transfer to another SEC school, unless he wants to leave the SEC, he's set up well. If Jaden sprains his ankle in a game, he's the starter, and anything beyond that, he's competing and then taking over the starting job with no competition behind him, or at least people coming in to take it from him, because if he's still on this roster by then, there's no need to go into the portal for a quarterback. You've got a great one in Nussmeier.
He's Shea Dixon on Twitter, at Shea Dixon, giving it on 3 the Bengal Tiger. Great stuff as always, man. We appreciate the time, and we'll visit again soon.
Yes, and I'll say quickly, Trey'Dez Green, the number 2 player in the state, up at East Feliciana, tight end, number 3 tight end in the country, announces Wednesday at 2:00. So maybe I'll jump back on later in the week. And if that's good news for LSU, as I think it will be, that's a big pickup, another domino in state.
Shea, is he going to be a 2-sport guy?
He does have an offer to play basketball as well. You know the track record there. Those are two sports. Like a lot of guys have been sprinters and done both of that, or baseball. Basketball and football is tough. It sort of overlaps. So he has the opportunity to do it. We saw that with Jordan Tolles recently. Like, hey, if you want to come in and walk on, go for it. He's a very good basketball player, but I do know that he would be on a football scholarship if he commits, and that would be the main focus.
Okay. All right, Shea, we appreciate it, man. Thank you.
You got it, Matt.
All right, man. You're the best. We appreciate Shea. Let me knock out a quick break, y'all. We'll continue here on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by ProCharge EV, ProChargeEV.com. Hey, been telling you, of course, by the end of this month, so Sunday, last day of the month, ProCharge EV giving away 3 free EV chargers to Louisiana businesses. It's easy. Just go to the website, ProChargeEV.com, ProChargeEV.com. You'll see the charger giveaway tab at the top. You can enter to win, ProChargeEV.com. Also, this Saturday, for the LSU-Alabama baseball game, ProCharge, along with Drive Electric Louisiana, are hosting a tailgate party at Walk-On's Burbank, noon until 6 p.m. They'll have crawfish and food, obviously for sale, cash bar. There'll be EVs on display, live music by Katie and Tyler of Boku Boogie, Taylor Nauta, the Chase Tyler Band. So again, this Saturday, if you're looking for something to do, noon to 6, Walk-On's Burbank. It is the tailgate event with capital EV, Get Electric Vehicle, hosted by ProCharge and Drive Electric Louisiana. See you there.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
Each year, Guarantee Media hosts a radiothon to benefit Dreams Come True, the local organization that grants dreams to Louisiana kids suffering life-threatening illnesses and their families. We've interviewed these incredible kids, and their stories warm our hearts. And none of it would be possible without your help. So we're asking for your support in our effort to making more dreams come true. Each year, our Dreams Come True radiothon is powered by the Baton Rouge Clinic. Visit GuaranteeMedia.com to pledge your support today, and thank you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
after further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Jay Johnson met with the media earlier today. I want to talk about some a prospect that the Saints are targeting here in just a second. Jay Johnson met with the media earlier today. He was asked for an update on Tommy White, who left Game 3 of the series against Ole Miss after just the first inning.
I didn't talk to him this morning. He went to class. It was just a little sore, kind of dinged up. So it just felt like it wasn't in his best interest for him to continue playing yesterday. And, the body language throughout the game, he was in the dugout, didn't seem like a guy that was super or overly concerned, with anything. But I'm optimistic that it's just like a day-to-day thing that we need to treat and stay on top of it. I did talk to Josh, and it's kind of where we're at.
All right, so day-to-day, we'll see if Tommy White's back out there tomorrow. I mean, look, it's worth saying you ask the head coach about an injury, he says what he says. But one thing is clear with Jay is he's just not going to give you anything on injuries ever. And that's his prerogative. He's the head coach. He can do what he wants. Like, we've seen different coaches handle it differently. I mean, Paul Maneri would tell you everything about any, to the detail, like bone sticking out of his leg. Like, it didn't matter. Paul was going to tell you. Les Miles was the antithesis. I mean, Les thought any little tidbit of information about any injury whatsoever was a massive disadvantage. So he would never say anything. So every coach can run the program how they want. It's their prerogative. It's just hard to take Jay at face value when it comes to injuries because he is not going to disclose anything. So, but the point that he made there is right. I mean, we saw Tommy White standing in the dugout the whole rest of the game eating sunflower seeds and looked okay. So hopefully it's just a thing where guy just needs some rest. Get him off his feet for a few days and see if he's ready to get back out there either tomorrow or this weekend when Alabama comes to town. All right, it's after further review. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. Love telling you about Shawbill's Tire and Auto Service. ShawBillsTire.com. You know where to find them. ShawBillsTire.com, where they'll sell you name brand tires at wholesale prices. I mention it every day, but remember, make sure when you go to Shawbill's, you ask about the Shawbill's credit card. Because when you use the Shawbill's credit card, that always unlocks great discounts as part of their promotions. And when you use your Shawbill's credit card for the first time, they'll always give you a $50 off any purchase when you use the Shawbill's credit card for the first time. So, like, you get an oil change. An oil change is $50. You basically get the oil change for free. It's at Shawbill's. Learn more at ShawBillsTire.com. You can always hit the promotions tab right there at the top to see all the great promotions they have currently on tires. It's at ShawBillsTire.com. Home of the Charlie's Dozen, Shawbill's, where we keep you rolling. I am so fired up. It's draft week, Thursday, round 1 of the NFL draft. You know where we'll be. Our draft companion show will be at Don Juan Cigar Bar, hosted by or presented by Rouse's. Come join us Thursday at Don Juan for the round one of the draft. Whole staff will be there. We'll look forward to seeing you all there. If you can't join us there, you can watch our coverage on the Watch 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel. So y'all know I'm a nerd. I'm a draft nerd. Love the draft. Love the nuance of the draft. I'll be locked in all 3 days. The big question around the New Orleans Saints, of course, is what are you going to do at 29? Are you going to stay at that pick? Are you going to move up? People ask me every year, are the Saints going to trade back? No, they're not going to trade back. The Saints never trade back. We have enough history of the New Orleans Saints to know this is just what they do. They're not going to trade back. If anything, they're going to get aggressive and move up to get a player that they like. And they have enough draft capital this year to where they could very well do that if they see a player they like slipping. If they stay at 29, though, the big question is who will be there at 29 at their position of need. And we all know right now the Saints need interior defensive linemen. I think that goes without saying. And when you look at a lot of different mock drafts around the interwebs right now, and everyone that's putting out mock drafts, essentially everyone has the Saints taking a defensive lineman. Look, the Ringer has the Saints taking Will McDonald out of Iowa State, the defensive end. Every now and again, you'll see a Zay Flowers or something like that, but CBS Sports, Ryan Wilson has the Saints taking Miles Murphy out of Clemson. Peter King, Miles Murphy out of Clemson. Matt Miller at ESPN has taken the defensive tackle out of Northwestern, whose name I could try to pronounce, but will probably butcher. Out of Tomawa, out of Boroway. I think I have it. Probably not, though. Chad Reuter at NFL.com has him taking Miles Murphy. Michael Renner at Pro Football Focus has him taking the defensive tackle out of Northwestern, whose name I just butchered. Point is, everybody's got the Saints taking a defensive lineman because they have to have defensive linemen. We say it all the time. Saying you want to draft best available is great until you're in a draft where you have an absolute, no question, must need at the top of the draft. The example I've continued to give you is Max Unger. Max Unger suddenly retired. The Saints needed a center. They didn't have a first-round pick. They used their first pick of that draft in round 2 on Eric McCoy because they had to have a center. This is a draft where you have to have a defensive lineman. So my assumption is at 29, they're going to take a defensive lineman unless they move up to take a defensive lineman. One that's really interesting is Kalijah Cansey. And the reason that this is interesting in particular today is because there is a report from Tony Pauline of Pro Football Network, and Tony Pauline's report on the Saints and Kalijah Cansey, who is, again, the defensive lineman out of Pitt, little undersized defensive lineman. But Tony Pauline has this report today, which is, he says, I've never been high on Cansey as most, and I don't think he's a great first-round projection. The size, lack of growth potential, short arms worry me. Despite my opinion, everything I've been told in recent days points to Cansey being a lock as a first-round pick. He goes on to say, who would select him in the first round? If I was a betting man, I'd go with New Orleans. The Saints are digging deep into Cansey, burning the phone lines, talking with his coaches at Pitt recently to get as much detail as possible on the defensive tackle. Okay. A couple of things. We all know the Saints well, right? Like, if you love the franchise, you live here, you follow the franchise, you kind of know what they're looking at, what they do, what they're going to target. But I'm even perplexed by this one. What do we know about the Saints when they're drafting, in particular on the defensive line? What do we know? The Saints value the relative athletic score. It's why they moved up to take Marcus Davenport. It's why they took Payton Turner. The Saints value, especially at that position on the defensive line, athleticism. There's a mold of an athlete that they want. I don't want to say, tape be damned, but in many respects it feels like that. Like, you didn't have tremendous production from Davenport or Payton Turner in their collegiate careers at their small schools. You had elite athletes. Now there's times where that works. Look at Teron Armstead. They went and took a guy who was a SWAC school player up at Pine Bluff. They recognized an incredible athlete and turned him into a franchise left tackle. Okay? So there's times it works. The problem with Kalijah Cansey is he don't fit that bill. He's 6'1", he's an interior player, 6'1", 281. The Saints put these big 300-pound space eaters in the middle. David Onyemata, Shea Tuttle. Like, think about the players that they've stuck in the middle when they've drafted Sheldon Rankins. I mean, that's what they look for. Malcolm Brown, these big, massive, heaping dudes that plug holes in the middle. Kalijah Cansey ain't that. He's 6'1", 281. So, and the flip side of it is the Saints did not host Cansey on a pre-draft visit. Remember, you can host 30 prospects on a pre-draft visit at your facility. He wasn't one of them. You're going to use a first-round pick on a guy you didn't bring into your facility? Unless if you were just that sold on the prospect and you didn't want to tip your hand. And maybe that's the case. Maybe that's the case, that this is the smoke and mirrors deal where the Saints didn't bring him in because they don't want to let on of their interest. But then here's the report that your coaches are making phone calls every day about the guy. I mean, that might allude to these. So again, that's a bit why I'm a bit perplexed on this one. Like, what do you actually believe about the Saints' interest in Kalijah Cansey? Athletically, doesn't fit the mold of what you're looking for. Saints didn't bring him in for a pre-draft workout, but here you are the week of the draft and they're burning up the phones, trying to find out everything they can on this guy. That's interesting to me, and it's certainly a bit of an outlier. Now, there's this other argument, which is maybe it was Sean Payton. Maybe Sean Payton was the driver behind the relative athletic score and getting these guys who are just great athletes. Maybe that was it. But then again, Dennis Allen has been on staff since they brought him back from Denver. I mean, he's been here really since 2017 with his whole run. Now, he wasn't the buck didn't stop with him. He was just the defensive coordinator. He wasn't the head coach, wasn't the GM. So maybe he was overruled, and maybe they're moving into a time where he is going to have more say, especially with defensive draft picks. But it would be pretty fascinating if they draft Kalijah Kancey. Now, I want to be clear, and I've said this a bajillion times from the start of this offseason to now and will through Sunday with the draft. And when we're back here on Monday recapping whatever it is the Saints did. A giant part of me says, I trust your evaluation, so I don't care who the player is. If it's Brian Bresee or Miles Murphy or Kalijah Kancey or the young man from Northwestern or any number of defensive linemen that the Saints could draft at 29 or if they move up to take. As long, I'm going to be consistent, as you need defensive linemen, as long as you take a defensive lineman at 29, I'm going to be really good, chances are, with whoever it is, and then also whatever you do at 40 and beyond, because you have so many needs on this team that if you trust your board and you draft good players and you stay true to your board, you're going to get players at position of need, because basically every position for this team right now is a position of need. But Kalijah Kancey, file that one away. We'll see how much interest the Saints might really have if he's on the board at 29. Do the Saints pull the trigger? Okay, it's after further review. We will knock out a quick break, come back. Let's hear a little more of what Brian Kelly had to say after the spring game on Saturday for LSU, in particular, the quarterback position. What's the latest with John Emery? Place kicker. A lot to unpack from Saturday's spring game and the 6 weeks of spring practices that LSU just wrapped. We'll get to it as we continue here on AFR.
AFR.
Presented by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. You can always get to Rouse's.com. That's Rouse's.com. Go to Rouse's, where they have live and boiled crawfish every single day over at Rouse's. It's Louisiana crawfish. If you want it live to do it yourself, Rouse's can help you out. You want to let Rouse's take care of it, they'll boil it for you every day at their in-house boiling rooms. No place better than Rouse's. You can go to Rouse's.com. Find that Rouse's nearest you, more than 60 locations. You can always get Rouse's gift cards. Remember, Rouse's has delivery and pickup options as well. So if you need something quickly from the store, you can order it on your app. They'll go shop for it, pull up into the designated spot. They'll bring it out to your car, or you can have it delivered to you as well. Just go to the website. You'll see the delivery and pickup tab right at the top. It's at Rouse's. Rouse's.com. Rouse's.com. The official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints is Rouse's. Learn more at Rouse's.com. Remember, Rouse's. This feels like home.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At Corval Toyota in Opelousas, you can get 3.99% financing on select 2023 models. And we also have a large selection of pre-owned inventory. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
The world's leaders in obesity research, obesity medicine, and obesity science are right here.
We're doing something that no one's ever done, or trying to answer a question that no one's ever asked before.
Pennington is a real jewel when it comes to research.
We are finding the solutions to the world's worst chronic disease, which is obesity. Louisiana needs Pennington Biomedical.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2640.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
There's a report at SI.com that the Southeastern Conference is looking at potentially taking a very, very, very drastic step at preventing fans from field storming. Right now, you know the rule. If you storm the field, the SEC has a series of fines in place, and it starts at $50,000 and can escalate up to $250,000. We all know that. And we also know that absolutely nobody gives a flip about it. As a matter of fact, Randy Boyd, the University of Tennessee president, after Tennessee beat Alabama this year and fans rushed the field there on Rocky Top with a victory cigar in his hand, said, quote, "It doesn't matter. We'll do this every year." Speaking of the fine. When the university president doesn't even care about field storming and is willing to say that on the record, that tells you everything you need to know. And as a result of literally nobody giving a flip about the SEC's field storming rules, Greg Sankey put together a conference working group on event safety to try to prevent field storming and to come up with options. And one of the things that has been proposed is losing a future SEC home game. So, for example, LSU beats Alabama, fans storm the field. 2023, LSU plays in Tuscaloosa. Under this proposal, 2024, when the game should circle back to Baton Rouge, the game would be in Tuscaloosa again. You would, in effect, have to play 3 consecutive years on the road. How about that? That is a dramatic consequence. But you better believe all it would take is one. All it would take is one. Let fans storm the field one time and then lose a home game. And watch the dramatic measures that every school in the SEC would take to prevent this from happening. Now, we could have a question. Look, we could have the question or the comments or the conversation about whether or not fans should storm the field at all, if they should just lighten up, if it's just good fun. I understand the counter argument, which is to say you have this massive humanity on the field ripping down goalposts. It is very unsafe. And if just one person were to ever die or become paralyzed, that one person is too many. And I can certainly understand that argument. I could also understand the counter argument, which is to suggest we see accidents in stadiums every year. We've seen accidental falls that have been tragic from upper decks and escalators and things of that nature. We have seen fans die at stadiums from falls. A lot of those have been alcohol related, yet they continue to serve alcohol at sporting events. Why? It's a revenue generator. It brings people in. People want to drink. You hope they do it responsibly. You try to put in whatever safeguards you can. Now, I understand that drinking a beer in Section 617 is dramatically different than 50,000 people storming onto a field and ripping down goalposts. There are dramatic instances of each, which maybe is the illustration to suggest you shouldn't allow field storming. I don't know that I have a great answer. I fully understand why the league, its member institutions, want to prevent field storming. Because this is inherently unsafe for the people on the field. It is. Now, this also kind of looks a lot like the mosh pit is going to look at Jazz Fest this weekend. You know, when you get 200,000 people all crammed in a field. So I get it. I get why this is not safe. I could listen to a counter argument as well, which is to say you're just having fun. But this is not safe. It is destructive by nature as well. So I understand why you want to prevent this. And having to forfeit a home game would certainly be a preventative measure. This could be voted on at the spring meetings and enacted as early as the 2023-2024 school year, which means for this coming football season. Now, I'll throw out this also, which I mentioned to you before. At LSU, you got no damn business storming the field. You've won 3 national titles since 2003. You had the greatest season ever in 2019. It's time to stop storming the damn field. Like, you need to be the team against whom teams storm the field. Fans rush the field when they beat you. You don't rush the field. The Alabama win was hella good fun. I get it. The field was packed. I mean, that's how you do it. You go storm the field. This is how you do it. I mean, this is how it looks. That's how it looks. I mean, if you're going to do it, that's how it should look. But I can also appreciate why the powers that be are trying to prevent this from happening. So follow that one. Again, report from SI.com that the SEC is considering forfeiture of a home game, an SEC home game, if you storm the field. We should know something by this spring, if in fact they enact it. So stay tuned. Let me know your thoughts on that. Maybe that could be a poll question if we don't have one yet. I know how that's going to go. Fans are going to want to be fans and have fun and not be told what they can or can't do. But my goodness, can you imagine? I mean, let it happen the first time. The first time it happens, it'll put a stop to it. Like, fans just will not do this anymore. And even if fans wanted to, the institutions would beef up security in such dramatic measures that it would never allow fans the opportunity to do this again. I mean, I've told this story before. 2001, I was a student at LSU, and LSU beat Auburn to win the SEC West for the first time ever. That was the game that was moved to December because of 9/11, and stormed the field. I sat at the front row of the student section, and one of the things I remember most is, the year before, LSU stormed twice, against Tennessee and against Alabama, and tore down the goalposts. And one of the things that they were trying very much to prevent against was incurring the cost of tearing down goalposts. And so there were sheriff's deputies or maybe state troopers, it was law enforcement, rings around both goalposts, 2-3 deep. You had armed officers around the goalposts. They were just not going to allow the goalposts to come down. And they tried like hell to keep students off the field too. But, I mean, that was to no avail. Ultimately, everybody got on. It just took a little longer than it would have otherwise. But you want to commit the security presence to preventing people from getting on the field. Maybe you can't prevent all of them, but you can certainly prevent the mass of humanity from going down that way. So, boy, that is a conversation that takes a very serious tone, where you're talking about forfeiting a home game, because not only the competitive balance do you lose, but also the revenue of a home game, which, though, that is how athletic departments put together their annual budget, is the revenue that they are counting on from home football games and being able to sell tickets. You lose a home SEC game? They'll turn around in a hurry. Okay, it's after further review. You can always email us, tweet us, text us in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400. 396-4400. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. Love telling you about Traction. TractionSports.com. Traction, where champions are made. If your son or daughter plays in any sport and wants to be their very best, you got to get them over to Traction. I know so many people think, Traction's baseball. Yes, Traction does an amazing job organizing youth baseball leagues. Undeniably, they're fantastic. But there's so much more than that. I'm telling you, I go to Traction 3 weekday mornings, 3 times a weekday morning, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and I go train with Tevin over at Traction. I've told you that before. While I'm there, I see young athletes in many different sports. Tennis players, volleyball players, lacrosse, of course, baseball, softball, football, basketball, track. If you want your son or daughter to be the best version of themselves in whatever sport, Traction has affordable memberships for both performance training and specific skill training for that sport. Learn more, inquire. Trust me, it's so worth it. TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com. Traction, where champions are made. Okay. Ben McDonald in 15 minutes. Well, Big Ben was on the call for Game 2 of LSU and Ole Miss there, along with our buddy David DeLucci. So it was pretty cool to see Big Ben and Luch on the call together for Game 2 of LSU Ole Miss. Great to see LSU sweep Ole Miss. We'll talk about it with Ben, in particular the performances of Christian Little and Ty Floyd. And Paul Skeens not having his best stuff, or a random one-off, or maybe at this point of the season you start to feel some fatigue. We'll talk about all that with Big Ben again coming up in 15 minutes from right now. Glad to have you aboard with us here. We'll knock out a quick break. Muse will have Tigers in the pros. Don't you move.
AFR.
Monday means all-you-can-eat wings at Pluckers. Nicholson, Bluebonnet, dine-in, carry-out, or delivery. 28 flavors of award-winning jumbo chicken wings, ice-cold draft beer, full-service bar, sports on TV. It's at Pluckers. Voted a top 10 wing restaurant in America by USA Today. Top 5 sports bar in America by ESPN. If you're looking for the best place to watch the game, which game? Any game. If it's the NBA playoffs tonight, if it's LSU baseball against Nichols on Tuesday, if it's your LSU baseball weekends, if it's the NHL playoffs or every single Major League Baseball game, there's no better place than Pluckers, because they have every game in every sport around the world on any TV you want. They have award-winning jumbo chicken wings and, of course, ice-cold draft beer. So tonight and every Monday, all-you-can-eat wings. You want to get there, watch both NBA playoff games tonight, including the late game starting at 9 o'clock. Don't worry. Pluckers is open till midnight or later every night of the week. Pluckers, if you don't like our wings. We'll give you the bird.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, anytime. Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $15,000 off all new 2022 1500 SCA trucks. And all new Bayou automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Each year, Guarantee Media hosts a radiothon to benefit Dreams Come True, the local organization that grants dreams to Louisiana kids suffering life-threatening illnesses and their families. We've interviewed these incredible kids, and their stories warm our hearts. And none of it would be possible without your help. So we're asking for your support in our effort to making more dreams come true. Each year, our Dreams Come True radiothon is powered by the Baton Rouge Clinic. Visit GuaranteeMedia.com to pledge your support today, and thank you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
All right, let's say ah.
Where'd my spotlight go?
Super weird, but we can take care of it.
Get in and get better at Patient Plus.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, wrapping up hour number 2. Ben McDonald, a little more than 10 minutes from right now. Right now, Musso. Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where Baton Rouge gets engaged.
Big moves on the diamond this weekend for a number of former Tigers. Let's start in minor league baseball, where the Sky Carp got destroyed by the Colonels.
I'm sorry, the Sky Carp?
The Sky Carp by the Colonels.
What's a Sky Carp?
It's a carp's a fish. I guess this is one that flies.
Oh.
Yeah.
A Sky Carp.
But this isn't the Colonels you're thinking of, Matt.
Is that
this
Beloit?
is like Colonels of
Bellois?
corn. Yeah.
Beloit or
Bellois,
Bellois?
I would imagine.
Or Beloit?
Beloit. I think we should go with like the French pronunciation of it.
Where is it? Oh, it's in Wisconsin. Yeah, no way that's French.
Probably not.
I bet that's Beloit.
Anyway, that's not the point. The point is they lost 11-1.
The point is that I always try to just derail your segment.
Yeah, but,
I interrupt
but listen,
you.
this is good.
Okay.
They lost 11-1. The one was a solo home run by Jacob Berry. He's the only guy trying. Only one out there giving a damn. Jacob Berry.
Jacob Berry.
I forgot we got to do that.
Yeah, one more
We gotta
song.
do that.
By
Yeah,
Jacob Berry.
We're going to do that.
By Eric
We're gonna
Berry,
do that.
Jacob Berry song.
Cade Doty, part of the Vancouver Canadians.
He's in Canada?
Yeah.
Ah.
How about that?
Minor league baseball in Canada.
The
Well, it
Great
makes
North.
sense, the Blue Jays, but
Yeah.
I didn't realize their farm system was in Canada as well.
At least the High A Club.
I gotta ask Kate about that. I wonder if he needs to trade out his currency. Do they speak French there?
In Vancouver?
Yeah, I mean,
I don't
there's
think
a
they
lot
speak French in
There's a
Vancouver.
lot of French-speaking people throughout Canada.
Yeah, but I don't think that could be. I'm not sure. That you have to figure out what
You know who
province
knows? You know
they're
who would
in
know?
and everything.
You know who would know?
Cade Doty.
Lee Feinswalk.
Oh, him
We'll
too.
ask him tomorrow.
Yeah. Anyway, Cade went 2 for 3 yesterday. He had a double and a home run. His first home run of the season. 1 RBI and a run scored. 273 for Cade so far. It's going really well. Went really, really well for Kevin Gausman yesterday in the Bronx. 7 shutout innings, 3 hits, no walks, 11 strikeouts. Got the victory. The only person to have any success yesterday for the New York Yankees? Well, that was our guy, DJ LeMahieu.
Had a big moment at the end, huh?
Yeah. You know,
that
look,
was 2 days ago.
the Yankees yesterday, Matt,
They lost yesterday.
they had 6 hits. DJ had 3 of them. He was 3 for 4.
Pretty
Now, one was a double. He got stranded each time, but he was really the only one trying, was DJ LeMahieu. So, great outing for Gausman, great outing for LeMahieu. At least the LSU guys are winning.
DJ had a walk-off on Saturday. Had the walk-off hit, yeah. But they lost yesterday.
They did. Well, I mean, look, I don't think anybody was going to beat Gausman yesterday, Matt. He threw 7 shutout and struck out 11 and didn't walk anybody. That's a good recipe to win. Milestone alert for Alex Bregman over the weekend.
49% of residents of Vancouver are not native English speakers.
Really? Okay, but does it say French or could it be something else, like Dutch?
French and English.
French
are
and English
are the primary languages.
I wonder if it's in Ontario. Is Vancouver in the Ontario province or no?
They're in it's BC. It's British
Columbia.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Vancouver, British Columbia. It's true.
It's western.
I've actually been to British Columbia.
It's Western Canada. Like if you go up from
Idaho,
Yukon, and you just go right up from Idaho to right across the border there. Vancouver's over there. Heard it's beautiful. I've never been.
I've been to British Columbia and it is beautiful. Just have not been to Vancouver.
Okay.
Anyway, milestone alert for Alex Bregman this weekend. He went 1 for 3 last night. The Astros beat the Braves, but Bregman reached 500 career RBI this weekend. 2 of them were last night. It was one single was the hit for Bregman and walked twice. But congrats to Bregman. 500 career runs batted in.
Pretty good.
It's pretty good. And plenty more to go.
Doesn't
I would imagine.
stink at baseball.
Yeah, no.
Pretty good.
Alex Lang threw an inning and a third of shutout ball in relief for the Tigers yesterday. They lost to the Orioles. He didn't walk anybody and struck out 12. ERA at a sparkling 1.80 early in the year for Langer. And on the PGA Tour, Sam Burns and Billy Horschel finished tied for 11th at the Zurich, 21 under par for their 4-round total. That's Tigers in the par. 30 under par won the event. 30 won the event.
I mean, like, I know the TPC of Louisiana would just wreck a schlup like me, but the pros go out there.
It's all in good fun, right?
God, 30 under. But you know what's wild? Some of those guys stink, too.
Yeah.
Well, they don't stink, but, like, you sit there at 17, there's a lot of bad shots at 17. It's a par 3 with the water hazard on the left. A lot of guys go in the drink.
Golf is hard. That's Tigers and the pros.
Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, LMFJ.com, LMFJ.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Love telling you about Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Gentlemen, if you're thinking about popping the question, there's only one place you need to go. Lee Michaels. You want to get the best diamond that's going to thrill her at the best price and always get the best service? Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. All right, Ben McDonald coming up right after SportsCenter.
AFR.
Man, I love telling you about the Williamson Eye Center. Love telling you about how they changed my life and how they can change your life. If you wear contacts or glasses and you want to ditch them forever, the Williamson Eye Center can help. They've been doing that, by the way, for more than 70 years. 3 generations at the Williamson Eye Center. Now, Dr. Blake Williamson, who I trusted to do my LASIK almost 5 years ago, I'm still today seeing better than 20/20. Ask someone. Ask anyone who's ever had LASIK their opinion of it. And chances are you are going to get the same answer. Changed my life. Best money I ever spent. Would highly recommend it. If you wear contacts or glasses, you want to be done with them forever. To just wake up in the morning and see. It's an amazing gift. One that I got about 5 years ago, and you could be next. Go for that free consultation. Let this be the push. Call 924-2020 or go to williamsoneye.com. That's williamsoneye.com.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Not only did she tell us, but this young lady, stand up. And this young lady
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
Is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The story of the day from ESPN's Adam Schefter. The Jets got their man, and Aaron Rodgers got his wish. The Packers finalized the trade of their iconic quarterback to New York. The team swapped first-round picks in Thursday's NFL draft. Jets now have 15th overall, Packers number 13. Green Bay also has second and sixth-round picks and a conditional 2024 second-rounder. The sky now the limit for the Jets with Rodgers, believes ESPN's Dan Orlovsky.
Jets are Super Bowl contenders. That remains in place. I think the two things that stand out, so he could potentially be traded for 2 number 1 picks and the number 2 pick. That is a massive cost for the Jets that had to do it. I do like the fact that they have a first-round pick, but I still think the Jets can get the offensive tackle they want at 15.
Some big NBA notes today as well. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski reporting former Celtics coach Ime Udoka has been hired as the new coach of the Rockets. He'd announced Jimmy Butler's available for Game 4 of the first-round playoff series versus the Bucks tonight. Kings guard De'Aaron Fox, fractured tip of his left index finger, will be listed as doubtful for Game 5 against the Warriors tomorrow, according to Woj.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Make sure your family is well taken care of with life insurance. Protect your phones, laptops, and more with electronic device insurance. And cover your furry friends with pet health insurance.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Musso. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. Oh, we'll get to some draft talk in just a little bit. Did Sean Payton take a dig at the Saints? And Brian Kelly recapping the spring game. You'll hear lots of that all here in hour number 3. LSU baseball sweeps Ole Miss in Oxford. Our buddy Ben McDonald was there on the call for game 2. And I'm curious if his Morgan Wallen show is the one that got canceled. Ben's with us now. Ben, how are you, man?
Doing good. How about you?
I'm great. Okay, so were you Saturday or Sunday for Morgan Wallen?
Man, thank gosh I was Saturday. And I'm just telling you, I'm not buying, and I don't think anybody's buying his voice went out. Like, I'm just not buying that.
What do you think, man? He had a long night on the square and just couldn't make it?
I'm thinking potentially he might have got around the square, which we've all been around the square once or twice before, you know? And so I don't know. It's just weird. You know, he sounded great. And look, he put on a hell of a show on Saturday. It was great. And, you go to a lot of concerts and sometimes the artist doesn't sound as good as he sounds on your radio, or he doesn't sound as good as he sounds, on CD player, phone, whatever. But this dude he was sounding just perfect, and so it was a good time. I hated for all the people last night. Gosh, what a terrible time, but It is what it is.
For those that didn't hear, Morgan Wallen was playing 2 nights at Vaught Hemingway Stadium, played Saturday, and the Sunday show got canceled. He apparently lost his voice. So we're all maybe claiming a little conspiracy theory there, but unfortunate for those that didn't get to see it. It was a great performance by the LSU baseball team, which swept 3 games. But let me start with the game that you called. Ty Floyd, I think, was the biggest story of the weekend. 8 1/3, by far his best outing as a Tiger. What worked so well for Ty Floyd on Saturday?
Yeah, I'm happy I was kind of hard on him in the open, but I really believe this. Like, if LSU's going to get to Omaha and win the College World Series, that's the goal. They got to have a true number 2 guy. And Ty Floyd has flashed that over his career, but never really put it together, And before this start, he had over a 6 ERA in his 5 SEC starts it's been. That Ty Floyd's better than that. And so he showed up in a giant way. I'll tell you what he did. He threw strike 1. And when he throws strike 1, he's really good. Then he can take that fastball and he can elevate it above the zone like he got a lot of his strikeouts. So he got ahead and expanded the zone and went up because he's got that elite fastball with some high spin to it on the analytical world where it just kind of carries through the zone. The other thing he did well, he kept him off his fastball too. And the knock on Ty his first 2 years was really didn't have a secondary pitch, right? Couldn't really get a changeup going, couldn't get a breaking ball going. Wes Johnson, new pitching coach, him have worked really hard to develop just something to get him off the fastball. So he had a good little slider at times, do some changeups to keep him honest a little bit, but did his work with the fastball and threw strike 1. So, a career outing, his very best career best outing at the right time, and maybe this is something that gets him going because we all know LSU has a true number 1 in Paul Skeens, but can they get a number 2 going? And Ty Floyd stepped up in a big way for sure on Saturday.
Ben, why was it so hard for Ole Miss hitters to lay off that elevated fastball?
Well, it's pretty simple. We see it at the big league level because you think you can hit it, right? I mean, for years, the gravity's always affected a fastball, and that fastball typically comes down from a high arm slide. It comes down into the zone. Well, gravity does not affect Ty Floyd's fastball because he has, for your viewers out there that don't know what that means, so the average big league fastball spins about 2,300 RPMs. Ty Floyd can spin his fastball at 2,500 RPMs. So what does that mean? That means it just stays on plane longer. Like gravity does not affect it as much as other typical fastballs that come towards home plate. So if you'll go back and watch the video, you'll see a lot of swings and misses underneath the ball because hitters it fools their eyes and it stays on plane a little bit longer. That's it in its simplest terms. And so that's what he was able to do. And don't forget, look, in the 9th inning, he was still up to 96 miles an hour too. That doesn't hurt either.
Ty Floyd was just absolutely magnificent on Saturday. You mentioned Paul Skeens as well. It's so odd, Ben, to nitpick a guy who had 11 strikeouts. But it wasn't Paul's sharpest outing. What was different for Paul Skeens on Friday?
Well, for me, he just really made one mistake. I mean, Eddie Furness's son, Will Furness, right? He punched him out on 3 pitches on fastballs inside. He tried to go inside again, I think, on a 1-1 count and left the ball out over the plate. And, Will Furness was not going to be embarrassed the second time. He was going to get the bat started, and he ran into the ball, and it was a 3-run homer. It just happened to be a walk, a base hit, and a 3-run homer, And so, Paul hasn't been, it's hard. I'm with you. I mean, we're talking about the best pitcher in all of college baseball. We're talking about a guy that's going to be probably the second pick in the country this year and a guy that you could plug in to back end of a major league bullpen right now and he'd hold his own, in my opinion. So it's hard to nitpick him. But, if you not getting quite ahead as much as he did before, is always strike 1. And so it's very, very nitpicky. But, look, Paul Skeens is still hands down the best pitcher in the country right now. He made one mistake. He went for a 3-run homer, and that was 3 runs,
Yeah, it's the standard he set. Look, Ben, I mean, I don't mean to say this, but like 30 years ago, like you were that guy. I'm not trying to date you, but you know what I mean? Like, at this point in the season, does fatigue set in, Ben? Like when you've thrown this many innings and with that much intensity with the fastball, like what is Paul Skeens feeling right now?
Yeah, I mean, yes, it can. I mean, I'm looking at his numbers right now. He's only got 59 innings right now. So look, you know this. I mean, look, he's a horse, right? 6'6", 240. And he's a guy that's accumulated some innings at Air Force the year before. It's not like we're talking about a guy that's never thrown 70 innings in a season, right? Like, he's built up, which is good. Having said what you're saying, yes, there will be a point in time in this season. I don't think we're here right now. But when he starts getting to, 90 innings, 100 innings of work, the arm's not the same. I mean, I threw 153 my junior year, and I noticed about the 120 mark that year that I was starting to run out of gas a little bit, and it was an accumulation of the year before, the summer with the Olympic team, and then back to my junior year, my arm just didn't quite feel the same. And Paul will experience that, but I think Paul's the kind of pitcher that can still get by. Like, he's got a good enough slider, good enough changeup, and he'll realize the fastball velo, maybe it's not there, and I can do some other things to still get you out. But look, he's a super competitor, and he goes out and competes because of his background and where he's come from. He'll do fine. He's going to be a horse all year for LSU. Obviously, you got to keep him healthy, and knock on wood, he stays healthy. But he's a stud. Like, he's a real stud. He's going to do fine every Friday night.
He's on Twitter at Real Ben McDonald. Y'all give him a follow, of course. SEC Network, always great when we get to see Ben on the call, especially when it's on LSU games. Ben, I also wanted to get your take on Hunter Elliott, who we saw after basically a 7-week layoff, and boy, it was a struggle. He faced 10 hitters. He walked 5 of them. When you hear about elbow injuries, you always get a little leery. A guy with such a huge future as Hunter Elliott. I just love your opinion on what you saw from Hunter Elliott and just the risk that they're taking, with him pitching this year.
Yeah, all we know is he had an elbow issue, and a lot of times if there's a fraying, and I'm not saying it is, I don't want to confuse any viewers out there, but a lot of times there could be a partial tear in that ligament, and guys want to rehab it and go throw and see if it will hold up, see how it feels. I'm not saying that's his case, but I'll be honest with you. He did not look like the guy that I saw last year when I had him in the Super Regional. I had him in the SEC tournament. I had him in late in the year. I had him a couple of times last year. I saw him. He did not look the same to me. I am concerned about him. The first thing that jumped at me was the velo. He always pitched at 90, 91. Wasn't a extreme hard thrower last year, but the first fastball he threw was 86. And I looked over at David Lucci. I said, "Is that a changeup?" And he goes, "No, that's a fastball." And then the next one's at 87. I'm going, I don't like this. And then he started throwing his best pitch, which is his changeup. And I felt like he was really slowing his arm down, like the arm slot was a little bit different. He did not look comfortable to me. So I'm concerned about him. I hope I'm 100% wrong. I hope he makes his next start and he goes out and pitches like the kid that pitched Ole Miss to the College World Series championship, because that's what he did with Dylan DeLucia last year. That's how important he was. So I hope I'm wrong, but I did not like what I saw for him.
He is Ben McDonald on Twitter at Real Ben McDonald. Ben, are we going to get to see you much more in college? I know with the schedule you do with the Orioles as well. How much are we going to get to see you calling college games the rest of the summer?
Unfortunately, that was my last college game. About to ship off and go to Baltimore for 3 weeks. But I am back for Hoover, and so you'll have me all through the playoffs. I'll be back for the SEC tournament. I'll do a regional, which I'll beg like hell to stay in Baton Rouge for that. I'll do a super regional, and I'll beg again like hell to stay in Baton Rouge for that one too. And then, of course, I'll do the College World Series as well. So I got to go out for about 3 weeks here and do some MLB games, and then I'll be back for the fun, for the real fun, and the postseason play.
Ben, we always appreciate it, man. It's great to hear you on the broadcast and when we can get a few minutes with you here on the show. Thanks as always for the time.
Anytime. Take care of yourself.
All right, man. Be well. That is Ben McDonald giving us some perspective here, LSU sweeps, and I always love getting Ben's perspective. So it was interesting. He said, file that away. That's something we'll come back to. Said, his junior year, and it is fair to mention, Ben pitched in the summer of '88 in the Olympics, and then came back for the '89 season, and said around inning 120 is where he could really kind of feel like there was some arm fatigue. So Paul Skeens isn't even at half of that yet. He's just shy of 60 innings pitched. So let's just remember that. Let's just file that away. For Paul Skeens as we move throughout the year. But always appreciate Ben when we get a couple minutes with him. Okay, it's After Further Review. Monday shows brought to you by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, Relief Windows, and ReliefWindows.com. Let me knock out a quick break. When we come back, Brian Kelly recapping the spring game. Want to let you hear what he had to say about John Emery, about the quarterbacks, about the kicking game, about the secondary. We'll get into some of that as we return here on AFR.
AFR.
Y'all, it is time to just plant something. Was talking with Miss Teresa over at Clegg's, and they're shifting a little bit. Look, you still want to plant that vegetable garden, you can do it. But, man, they are loaded up right now with flowers that are arriving every single day. They've got them in stock, in-house at all of their garden centers, all 4 locations of Clegg's Nursery, Siegen near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. She described it to me as flower mania. They got an awesome selection of spring and summer bloomers right now to brighten things up. I tell you, every year around Mother's Day, so we're getting close to that, every year around Mother's Day is when we take Erica over, and it's her Mother's Day present. We just go to Clegg's, and she just goes buck wild, buys a ton of flowers, and I can't complain. I have to hope we're playing all of them in the flower beds and the patio pots and all that stuff. You want to add that spruce of color by the pool or the patio, get on by Clegg's Nursery. Buy local, shop local, tell them Matt sent you to Clegg's Nursery.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
At Corval Toyota in Opelousas, you can get 3.99% financing on select 2023 models. And we also have a large selection of pre-owned inventory. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
The most valuable player probably that is the unsung hero through the entire playoffs, LaDacia Williams. All my exes live in Texas. Texas girl from the Big H right here.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench anytime. Hunt Palmer. After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
LSU wrapped up spring football with a spring game on Saturday. Typically, as we do here, we do our spring recaps. People from all over the conference reach out. They want to do interviews, kind of do the same thing we do, recap spring. So I've done a bunch of those interviews here the last several days, and people inevitably ask, hey, what's the first question that everyone asks? Like literally every single interview I've done, the first question in all of them. What's the biggest difference year 1 to year 2 with Brian Kelly? Well, the biggest difference is just last year was so frenetic, and this year it's just much slower and calmer because there's a lot more settled. That's one big change. One thing that has absolutely stayed the same and will likely never change is that Brian Kelly has jokes, like when he was asked about the game ending in a tie.
Tie game. I would have went for 2.
Muse, you think that it was a dig at Bama?
Kinda. Like, tied game. I'd have went for 2. Remember the last time that happened?
I don't know that it was so much a dig at Bama as it was just Brian Kelly maybe alluding to the fact that he did famously go for 2 in a big ball spot, and it turned out pretty well for old BK when he did it the last time. No need here in the spring game, of course. Most importantly, though, you got everybody out of the spring game healthy, and Brian Kelly did talk about just the overall outcome coming out of the spring game and this second spring in Baton Rouge.
You know, it was what we had hoped it to be, in the sense that, you know, as you saw, we tried to do some situational work and some special teams that allowed us to shorten the format a little bit, you know, because we, as you know, we're thin on the offensive line. First and foremost, we got out of it clean, no injuries, which is always important as you look at the overall impact of a game like this. You know, I thought we got, you know, strong play, you know, across the board. I think our safety play needs to continue to get better at the second level. We missed some tackles, but all in all, a good day out there today for us to evaluate and, you know, take a step forward.
15 practices, so much of that is finding answers to questions that you have, or beginning the process of answering those questions. So when you hit fall camp, you have something steady and something that you know is kind of in place already. Like there are things we know. Jaden Daniels is your starting quarterback. You return 6 of your top 7 offensive linemen. We know that Harold Perkins is going to be an inside backer, and you know we know a lot of the guys, who they are, where they're going to be, etc. Brian Kelly was asked about the quarterback play in the spring game, and you got to see all 3 guys run out there. Here's what Brian Kelly had to say.
The quarterback was, and Daniels was very efficient, you know, played very well. I thought Garrett Nussmeier equally as efficient, and at times doesn't have the same protection that Jaden does. And given those circumstances, you know, you can make the case that he was equally, if not better, in some instances. So pleased with the quarterbacks.
Mike Denbrock, a couple of weeks ago, when asked about the receivers, said Kyron Lacey was the guy that stood out this spring, and he sure showed it on Saturday.
So Kyron, really, the work that he's been doing is much more about, you know, consistent approach in practice. And, you know, I think we're starting to see how that's translating to performance. You know, he was, you know, I think at times trying to find himself relative to where he fit. And I think he's comfortable in where he is in our rotation now. And his practice work ethic has been consistent, and we can see it in terms of the way he's playing.
When you look at the receiving group, it's the deepest spot on LSU's team offensively, and you could argue either side of the ball. Malik Neighbors is awesome. Brian Thomas is a really physical, strong receiver who's certainly a game breaker as well. You had a guy like Aaron Anderson from Alabama. That's not even to mention guys like Chris Hilton and Landon Ibieta, who had a long touchdown catch and run in the spring game. There's guys I'm leaving off. Let's not even include Shelton Sampson, a 5-star coming in. Like, you are loaded at receiver. You lose Kayshon Boutte and Jeray Jenkins. You need guys to step up. Kyron Lacey is showing you he is more than capable of being that guy. He just needed the reps. He just wasn't going to get them ahead of the other guys that were there. The benefit of waiting your turn, and now he's waited his turn, and he's going to get his chance. One other thing offensively that a lot of people have talked about is John Emery. I want to remind you, we're going to let you hear what Brian Kelly said after the spring game, but let's go back to the start of spring. Okay, when 6 weeks ago, it's hard to believe, it's like LSU really just lengthened out spring, you know, pre-fall break and or spring break and all that stuff. Anyway, here's what Brian Kelly said in March before spring started.
John is focused strictly right now on his academics, and so he's got some marks that he has to hit from an academic standpoint before we talk about football with him. That was the deal with John, is in talking to his family, is that if his primary focus was academics and taking care of his degree, then we would have a conversation about football. And so right now his focus is 100% on that.
Okay, so you fast forward as we're moving toward final exams for the spring semester. John Emery, who does not need spring football. Again, I'm gonna underscore, bold, italicize. He's going into his 5th year. He is your most dynamic athlete at the running back spot. John Emery does not need spring practice. He don't need it. He just needs to be eligible in the fall. Here's what Brian Kelly said Saturday after the spring game.
We have not ruled out John Emery for returning. I think I've made it pretty clear that John has a path back, but it's one that is really dictated by what he does academically. So, look, we have not made any misleading statements. We love him, but we're putting academics first and foremost, and he's got to take care of that first.
No wavering, and I very much respect that. Here's the other thing I'll say. If John Emery were not going to be playing football for LSU this fall, John Emery would be in the NFL right now. He would be preparing for the NFL draft. Like, we know John Emery's going to be there. Like, he is going to be there come fall, ready to play. And if the approach is, hey, get your degree so the fall is about football, like we've seen with other guys. We saw it with Joe Burrow. Hey, maybe take like an online course or something like that. Okay, take care of your academics now in spring so that's not something that's going to be hovering over your head in the fall. A couple of other things. Maybe the biggest question moving forward is who wins the jobs in your secondary? I've said this often. I feel like you are more talented in your secondary today than you were a year ago, but you lose Jarek Bernard-Converse. You lose Cody Dickerson. You lose Mekhi Gardner. Okay, Colby Richardson. But it's pretty good that I can just roll it like that, huh? You lose Jay Ward. You lose Joe Fouché. Guys who were the cornerstones of your secondary. I mean, the only guys that are back really are Greg Brooks and Major Burns. And Burns was injured last year. We had the neck injury, like super weird thing that happened. So you are losing a ton of production, but you're probably more talented in your secondary. You are more talented in your secondary this year than last. Here was Brian Kelly coming out of spring, talking about that cornerback battle going into the summer.
We saw some good things, clearly, but it's work in progress for all of those guys in terms of, where they need to get to for the fall. JK and Denver and Alexander, all three of them are still, in that process for us in terms of weight room, in terms of the defense itself, and just the consistency of doing it at a high level. They're not there yet. We believe they can get there. We saw glimpses of it today. We saw glimpses of LaTerrence, his play today. I just think that we're not there yet. We think we've got some guys that are capable of playing at a high level, but there's still work to be done.
That's not even to include Deuce Chestnut, the Syracuse transfer who did not participate in spring but is expected to be a go. LaTerrence Welsh had a nice day on Saturday in the spring game. I thought he made some nice plays and flashed a little bit. So you've got options. The thing that we've talked about here with Denver Harris is I've asked people kind of around, and listen, I'm not a scout. I'm not like breaking down game film scouting people. I lean on people who know way more than me to tell me these things. They say with a guy like Denver Harris, they love the athleticism, but a guy that's just basically played man his whole life because he's more athletic. So you got to learn how to play some zone, know what your responsibilities are other than just you guard him, right? So that's kind of what Brian Kelly is alluding to there, but you got a ton of options. One more, and that is, look, as much as we talked about special teams, Damian Ramos had a very nice year. He steadied himself and had a very solid year for LSU, but Brian Kelly was adamant that job is not settled either.
It's clearly not a position where we've decided on who the starting kicker is. I think Ramos and Dybert are still competing, for that kicking position. We saw today that, both of them had misses. So, we have to keep an open mind on it, and we still have to keep them competing.
Ramos, of course, was your handled field goals, PATs. Dybert handled your kickoffs a year ago. If nothing else changes, those are your guys going into the season in the same spot, but you can certainly leave that open. So LSU comes out of year 2, spring football under Brian Kelly, healthy, with some guys emerging like Kyron Lacey, who's probably the most notable to mention there. Thin because of injury, but you had the luxury of holding guys out. You didn't see Mason Taylor. You didn't see John Emery like we talked about. You didn't see Mason Smith or Jalen Lee or Jordan Jefferson. A lot of the defensive linemen that you brought in. You didn't see Mekhi Wingo this spring. A lot of guys you're going to be counting on come fall didn't participate because you didn't need them to participate. The bigger overarching picture with this football team is you're talented, you're deep. Just get everybody healthy and playing their best come September. Because if you can find a way to bring your best every Saturday over 12 regular season games, you're going to find yourself back in Atlanta with a chance to play yourself into the college football playoff. That's what's on the line for this team this year, and I think they all know it. And it's really just a matter of taking it a day at a time and get there. All the cliches are applicable. But if you're a fan of LSU and you're excited today and optimistic about the fall, you should be, because this team is capable of beating every team on its schedule, provided they're healthy and playing their best. So it's on Brian Kelly and staff to get them there. Okay, it's After Further Review brought to you by Mold Zero. Mold-0USA.com. I get asked a lot. Hey, Matt, remind me, what's the mold company you always talk about? Mold Zero. Mold-0USA.com. Mold-0USA.com. Rained this weekend. Friday, it stormed. And then we had a warm, sunny weekend where, of course, you get the mixture of humidity and wet, you get mold. Perfect breeding ground for mold. It happens not only at your home, it happens at office buildings, it happens at restaurants, where you see condensation around air vents. Perfect breeding ground for mold. If you got mold, don't worry about cutting sheetrock. Don't think you have to do this massive, disruptive remediation process. It could be as simple as having Mold Zero come in, spray their patented non-toxic dry fog treatment. You let that fog dwell. It'll kill all the mold, all the spores, all of it. As soon as the fog dissipates, boom, you're back in. Mold, odor, other pathogens, all gone, and you're free and clear to go back in. Safe for your family, safe for your pets, safe for your plants. It's Mold Zero. Mold-0USA.com. Mold-0USA.com. Call Jim Woodworth and the gang. Find out how they could save you thousands. Mold Zero USA. All right, been a good show. We appreciate you for being here with us. Halfway home in hour number 3. Otterlock's in about 15 minutes from right now, so we'll bring Jimmy in. We'll get some picks. When we come back, draft day is Thursday. I'm pumped. I'll keep reminding you. We'll be at Don Juan on Thursday. Our draft coverage presented by Rouse's. We'll be at Don Juan Cigar Bar. Everyone's invited to come. Our whole staff will be there, except for Hester. Hester will be in Kansas City at the draft. But T-Bob, Hunt, Hanny, Ott, me, Musso, Paulie, I think, is flaking on us, but that's okay. We understand. Look at that sly little grin. But we're going to have a great time. Coming out to Don Juan Cigar Bar, hang out, have some cocktails. They have food menu, like a limited food menu as well. Have a premium cigar, hang out with all of us. It's a very, very, it's not like a structured show that we do if you were around last year for the draft companion show. It is very, very informal, and we're really just looking at it as a hangout, as a watch party. So come hang out with us at Don Juan on Thursday. And if you can't be there, watch along with us at the Watch 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel. Thanks to everybody who's watching that right now. And, of course, for all of you who watch us on WBTR Channel 19 in the Baton Rouge area. Okay, quick break. When we come back, speaking of the draft, Sean Payton, did he throw a little shade at the Saints at his pre-draft press conference? I want to talk about it. You'll hear what he said next. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by River Cities 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, 752-0001. Love sharing 5-star Google reviews. This one came in from Jess Adams. who said, Jakob did a wonderful job. Explained my issue, where I could actually understand what is going on with my AC unit. Definitely recommend this company. How often do you hear that about HVAC companies? Well, if you call River City's 1 Hour Air, you'd hear it all the time. Look for the big yellow vans and trucks with the giant clock on the side. You can't miss it. River City's 1 Hour Air, they've been in business for more than 40 years right here in the greater Baton Rouge area. If you have an issue with your home central AC, call River City's 1 Hour Air. I mentioned the preseason AC tune-up. That's standard maintenance for your unit. You want it to last not only this summer, but for years to come, call River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Bayou Ford has $2,000 off MSRP plus 2.9% APR for 84 months on new 22 Ford Expeditions. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
For over a century, local broadcasting has evolved with the needs of the community. We move past the stigmas of opinion journalism and bring the most relevant news online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text TB to 52886 and tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, Otter Locks in about 10 minutes. See what the Otters betting on. Got a couple of NBA games tonight if you're following along in the NBA playoffs. By the way, our coverage of the NBA playoffs, much of which can be heard here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, for those of you that are in Baton Rouge listening. The early game tonight is Milwaukee at Miami, with Miami holding a 2-1 series lead there. Then Memphis is at the Lakers. Lakers at home with a 2-1 series lead. They could take a commanding lead if they knock off Memphis tonight. And the other big news today, if you haven't heard, it's going to be impossible to miss across all the platforms. between now and Thursday leading up to the draft. But it is official. Aaron Rodgers has been traded to the Jets. So the Packers and the Jets were able to consummate that deal. There was a pick swap for this year's first rounder. Also, the Packers are getting a 2 and next year's 1 conditionally. It's a 2, but if Rodgers plays 65% of the snaps, it'll convert to a first rounder next year as well. So Packers are getting a haul for Aaron Rodgers. The Jets are all in to try to win now in one of the toughest divisions in football. Okay, draft is Thursday. And, of course, we're going to be keeping a very keen eye on what the Saints do at 29. I'm also going to be interested to see what Sean Payton does in his first draft as the head coach of the Broncos. Well, Sean Payton was having his pre-draft press conference, and pre-draft press conferences are pretty notorious for not saying anything. Like, you do months and months and months of work to lead up to the draft, scouting and interviews and evaluation. Like, why right before the draft are you going to give away your strategy for everything you're going to do? But they're all obligated, coaches and GMs, to do these pre-draft press conferences. So Sean Payton having his first pre-draft press conference with Denver, and some people are reading this as him throwing a little shade at the New Orleans Saints when talking about analytics departments. Give a listen.
I would say this: the analytics department is something that is on a different level here, and I'm like that driver of a new car that still hadn't figured out how to operate, how to get the seat warmers on. I mean, it's pretty impressive, and it's new for me in a good way. And I'm just talking about the efficiency of the process. It was just we weren't as far ahead when we were looking at some of these players as to being able to pick up and access the information as quickly.
Okay. Maybe that's not Sean Payton throwing shade. Maybe that's just Sean Payton being honest. Maybe it was an inadvertent slight. The thing that I would remind Sean Payton is that he was the head coach in New Orleans for 16 years. So if anything was subpar, it's his fault. I do think it's kind of funny, though, that Sean Payton kind of lauds the analytics for Denver when, if I were to ask any Saints fan, hey, over the last 16 years, what has been the most successful part of the Saints draft process? Wouldn't we all, to a person, acknowledge it's their ability to hit in the mid and late rounds and even undrafted free agents? Like, wouldn't we all say that? More so than even the first round picks, where there have been plenty of whiffs. There have been a lot of there have been a lot of guys like who was the Haoli Kikaha? That's who I was trying to remember. There have been a lot of Haoli Kikahas at the top of drafts for the Saints. You know what they've done exceptionally well? Zach Strief, Marcus Colston, round 7. Jermon Bushrod, round 4. Carl Nix, 5th round. Became an all-pro interior lineman for you. Jari Evans, round 4. I look at what the Saints have done primarily in their drafts, and that's where we talk about the real success of the Saints drafts. You found Kenny Stills in round 5. He became a very good professional receiver. P.J. Williams in round 3. Tyler Davison, who you cut, but became a starter in the NFL, in round 5. David Onyemata, you got him in round 4. Trey Hendrickson was in round 3, along with Kamara and Zaloni. I mean, you found Boston Scott in round 6, Will Clapp in round 7. Those guys are still on NFL rosters. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, C.D. Deuce was a 4th rounder. Caden Ellis was a 7th rounder. That's kind of the point, is whatever you want to say about the analytics department, I'm a little indifferent. Like, however it came about, if it was analytics, if it was the eye test scouting, I look at the Saints and what they've done in late rounds, mid-late rounds, and said, yeah. So I just kind of looked by comparison and went through Denver in the same time period, starting back in 2006, Sean Payton's first draft in New Orleans, and said, all right, let me look mid-late rounds and see what Denver did. I mean, Elmas Dumerville was a 4th rounder. I mean, you're going to roll through a lot of picks that you don't know who they are. Seth Olson, Sid Quad Thompson was a 7th rounder. Julius Thomas was a 4th rounder. That's obviously a hit back in 2011. Malik Jackson was a 5th rounder in 2012. I guess my point is they're pretty few and far between to find the mid and late round hits in Denver over the same period. And a lot of that is just draft strategy, right? Like some teams, like the Saints, are super aggressive. They trade a lot of picks to go up. Some teams are more willing to let the draft come to them or accumulate picks. Like, if you look at the Denver's draft classes over that time period, the only player, if you go back to 2006, which was Sean Payton's first year in New Orleans, if you look for what players are still active in the NFL that were drafted by Denver in the same time period, the oldest player in the NFL, or the longest tenured, I should say, is Von Miller, who was taken in 2011. There's no player in the NFL drafted prior to 2011 in Denver that's still in the league. And then Derek Wolfe was 2012. None of their 2013 draft is still in the league. And then 2014, it's Bradley Roby and Michael Schofield. That's it. The Saints have drafted better than Denver has. It's a big part of the reason why the Saints have had a longer tenure of success, and the Broncos had their all-in Super Bowl when they had that 3-year window with Peyton Manning. They were all in, went to 2 Super Bowls, won one of them. But outside of that, you've had these long stretches of, I don't want to say irrelevance, but of mediocrity is certainly a way to put it. I mean, the Broncos haven't been back to the playoffs since they won Super Bowl 50 with Peyton Manning and Von Miller in that squad. They were all in to win it. They won it, but the rest of the roster hasn't kept up or built up to that same time. So to circle back, I don't know necessarily that Sean Payton is throwing shade, but I also would say that if you're a Saints fan and you hear that, the evidence suggests that I don't give a damn how good your analytics department is. I can look at your draft results and say the Saints have objectively drafted better over the last 16 years than Denver has and had more on-field success as well. So I think a lot of people are wishing Sean Payton well. It's better that he's in the AFC than the NFC. But if I'm a Saints fan here today, I'm going into this draft feeling very good about the Saints' draft ability because they hit. Okay. Let me knock out our final break of the show. When we come back, Otter Locks. We'll find out what the Otter's betting on tonight. Stick around. One segment to go. It's AFR.
AFR.
Hey, I love telling you about New Orleans Flooring. And as much as I love my friends over at New Orleans Flooring, getting to meet my guys Steve and Big Sean and Terrell, I got an opportunity for you to meet the guys as well. This Saturday, Prairieville store, 9 to noon, they're having their sidewalk sale. So we talk about it all the time at New Orleans Flooring, how the way that their big differentiator at New Orleans Flooring is they keep more than 1 million square foot of product in stock, right? They have these giant warehouses. They keep your flooring in stock, so you could literally walk in today, buy your flooring, they can install it tomorrow because they got it. And because they got it in stock, they save you money because it's not passing through 4 different companies along the way to get to you where everybody has to take their cut and they pass that expense on to you. So you save tons of money. Well, this Saturday, 9 to noon at the Prairieville New Orleans Flooring, they're having their sidewalk sale. So walk into the store, save even more this Saturday at New Orleans Flooring. 2 locations, Metairie and Airline Highway in Prairieville, NOLAflooring.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $15,000 off all new 2022 1500 SCA trucks. And all new Bayou automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Each year, Guarantee Media hosts a radiothon to benefit Dreams Come True, the local organization that grants dreams to Louisiana kids suffering life-threatening illnesses and their families. We've interviewed these incredible kids, and their stories warm our hearts. And none of it would be possible without your help. So we're asking for your support in our effort to making more dreams come true. Each year, our Dreams Come True radiothon is powered by the Baton Rouge Clinic. Visit GuaranteeMedia.com to pledge your support today, and thank you.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walk.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Down the stretch we come, final segment here on a Monday edition of AFR, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, Relief Windows, and reliefwindows.com. Nobody does it better than my guy Brandon Holly and the gang over at Relief Windows. You can trust them just like I do. Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com. All right, one thing left to do. Find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Otterlocks.
Otterlocks, presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
So we turn to the one and only, the incomparable and all that incomprehensible, the Outfather himself, Jimmy Otter. How are you?
Doing great, Matthew. How about you? We're over here at Spin Bomb on Burbank and Lee.
Awesome.
Draft. The old draft is right around the corner, big guy.
I cannot wait. I cannot wait for Thursday. Like, where are y'all at? Where are y'all on Thursday?
The original walk-on.
Okay. You haul ass when you're done. Get over there to Don Juan, because I am praying for a Lewis sign-like celebration at some point again on Thursday. Like some type of viral moment that's going to have your son completely embarrassed at his father the next day at school.
The next in a long line, I guess you could say. Yeah, last year at his baseball game, some of the seniors, when he was a sophomore, would come over and like, hey, that's right, we saw you on video.
Hey, maybe we should show them when you and I were driving to media days and you had your torn ACL and you're hitting your crutches on the roof to a techno beat.
I was just really excited hitting the trance on the way home that we didn't have to listen to one game at a time anymore. So, you know.
I love it. All right, Otter, what are we looking
You're
at, man?
You're a very good driver. You're an excellent driver.
Good.
Excellent driver.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed.
I do what I can.
Yes, indeed. All right, going back to the crypto forum, whatever they call it, downtown LA. It's just man. There's so many things that don't transition or don't translate rather from the regular season to the postseason, like the Cavaliers record compared to the Knicks. That's a bad matchup for the Cavaliers, and the Knicks have a commanding lead. One thing that does is Memphis is not a good team on the road. They are much better at home, and they're just not playing well. Okay, John Morant is not playing well. We know about the Dylan Brooks sideshow, and I don't want to hear any type of victim type of claim with that. These guys go out of their way to try and paint themselves as a villain. But same old, man. This game was not close. It was much closer to 40 than it was 10. Even the Lakers -5 tonight in Game 4. Rarely will I bet the Lakers since they're so public, but I'll take it tonight.
By the way, DraftKings has it 4.5.
Better.
Yeah.
5-4.
As Odd always says, sometimes it pays to shop around.
Yes, indeed. All right, 2 games in Major League Baseball tonight. First of all, in Milwaukee. We're going to go the whole game in this one. One of my, I thought, a better handicaps yesterday was Detroit +75 against Baltimore. I had first 5 and the game. My pitcher doesn't give up a hit until 2 outs in the 7th inning. We get a push because it's 0-0 at the end of 5, and then we lose 2-1. So here comes those sad Tigers again. Matthew Boyd. Remember Rodriguez, though. We'll be back on him. Colin Ray, not the best pitcher for the Milwaukee Brewers. Both teams are going to get into each other's bullpen, though. Milwaukee's unbeatable right now at home. That's a soft number at -50. Milwaukee's -50. That's available at the DraftKings, too.
All right, so you like Milwaukee
-50.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, money line. And then a first 5
1 minute remaining.
First 5 line, your Yankees and the Twins. Vanderbilt's Sonny Gray has been about as good as you can get in all of baseball so far this year. Got to lay -152 at FanDuel. Sonny Gray first 5 in the Twins. So Lakers minus the points. Milwaukee money line. Twins first 5 money line.
Let's see. I'm looking at 175 Twins first 5 here.
See, FanDuel's 152.
Okay. All righty.
Yeah, it's a big difference. So shop around.
All right, Otter, where are you tonight?
Pin Bomb. Sushi
Oh, that's
burrito,
right.
Poke ramen, right next to Rouse's.
Tell Charlie I said hello over there.
Oh, he says hello as well.
Fantastic. All right, Otter, have a great show. We'll see you. All right, I think Otter just hung up on us. All right, Muse, Paulie, thanks so much. Y'all have an awesome night. We're getting out of here. We'll see you tomorrow at 3 on AFR.
AFR.
As we get on down the road, remind you about the aesthetic medicine and anti-aging clinics of Louisiana, Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffery in Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. Again, theantiagingclinics.com. I want to remind you, we have got less than a week left. This is your last opportunity. All this month, again, and this is the last week of the month, the latest in non-surgical body contouring. It's called Evolve X. You got those trouble spots, love handles, lower abdomen, butt, thighs, diet, exercise just won't knock out. Evolve X, the latest and greatest in non-surgical body contouring. It can help. And limited time introductory pricing this month only. You got 5 days left. Actually 4 after today. The Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. You can learn more online at theantiagingclinics.com. Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com.